In the city of G, at a certain abyss wing level C, there was a young man running frantically because he was being chased by a monster filled with Sup 2 from the other end of the gate. This is our main character, Yeop Gyeong. He is a longtime abyss scavenger whose daily job is to recover and classify the trash left by the Awakened Latent Abilities team after fighting monsters, because the abyss managers are determined not to allow resources to fall into the hands of ordinary people in society. Although these crystals are also level C equivalent, each one is worth more than 5,000. Yeop Gyeong thought while absent-mindedly picking up a crystal and starting to polish it, but at that moment in front of him, a loud voice resounded. "Hey, kid, clean up everything that falls out from the stage. If you attempt to hide or keep the crystals for yourself, not only will you have to pay a large sum in compensation, but you will also be thrown into jail, understand?" Upon hearing this, Yeop Gyeong quickly looked up and said, "Boss, don't worry, I've been doing this job for many years. I understand the rules." After speaking, Yeop Gyeong continued with his cleaning job, while also thinking, usually scavenging abyss trash is done by level 0 players. If the battle team doesn't handle all the monsters before moving on, lower level players could be in danger at any time, risking their lives. You could say this job is a trade-off using lives. Every time surviving from a mission, you will receive $300 as basic salary. Each garbage picker will receive about 1/1,000 of the value of the garbage collected, which is around $600 minus the 30% broker fee, leaving $540. At this point, our protagonist sighed and said, "I still need another $67,000 to pay off the debt. I have to work harder to earn it." At that moment, a miner next to Yeop Gyeong overheard that he was in debt and offered, "Hey, Yeop's kid, there's a good deal here that pays 3/1,000. Want to join us?" Yeop Gyeong was surprised, and the miner didn't explain much, just said, "Kid, you're not always short of money, so if you want to join, come with us as a group. We're leaving now." "Okay, I'll get ready." Yeop Gyeong hurriedly agreed, and then the group boarded a vehicle and moved to their mission location, Shinpum City Shopping Center. That's not an abyss submission in the news just now. It's heard that it has been confirmed at level A. No wonder the percentage is so high. It's said that there was a team that was wiped out before. No one survived. Another worker nearby who heard it also guessed what it was and said, "Is this another side contract?" Maybe so. This time, besides clearing the submission, there is another important task, bringing back the equipment of the previously wiped out team. The teammate nearby couldn't help but angrily say, "It's true that when you're greedy for food, you don't need to let go of a single bone. Who told those abyss are all managed by those in power?" Someone frustratedly said, turning back to Yeop Gyeong. At this time, he also pondered about this. This is the era of commerce. Exploring all these things must be traced back to 10 years ago. A door to the abyss suddenly appeared from nothingness. Then the creatures of the abyss world also appeared before human eyes. And only those who awaken latent abilities have special abilities, causing damage to abyss creatures, along with the death of demon beasts. Humans also discovered in the abyss not only are energy monsters, but they also drop miraculous weapons and equipment. That's why people once again discovered a new continent and pushed forward with exploitation in the abyss. Most traditional businesses have closed. All of society's capital has shifted to the new market, the abyss industry. As for Yeop Gyeong, he belonged to the bottom tier of society, being a lower class person with no place willing to accept someone of such low abilities. The financial burden weighed heavily on Yeop Gyeong's shoulders when his younger sister fell seriously ill. The doctor demanded hospital fees, and he was rejected from any job he applied for. After enduring the society's beating, Yeop Gyeong realized that there was no precedent for his situation. He would become redundant without hidden potential. He received an offer. The collateral is the most valuable thing on you, your windpipe. To pay for his sister's medical treatment, he decided to borrow $100,000 without knowing the reason. Rumors spread that he borrowed money at high interest rates and would have to sell his kidney if he couldn't pay it back. They discussed how he could only live a life as waste. Yeop Gyeong simply gently lowered his hat and bowed his head lower. Not long after, the bus carrying this group of people arrived at the designated location at a certain gate. There was already a group of awakened latent abilities here, and as soon as they saw them get off the bus, the group complained, "You trash pickers are too clumsy. Follow obediently behind. If you die, you won't be responsible. Hurry up, sorry, they quickly said. Then the whole group quickly followed this group of awakened latent abilities inside the gate. At this moment, Yeop Gyeong also silently reminded himself, "This time I have to try to make money, then survive and come out. This is Abyss B, the underground shopping center of Shinpung City. This is the first time Yeop Gyeong has entered such a high-level sub-dungeon, making him amazed, looking around left and right. But before he could look around much, the people in front suddenly heard a few wolf howls, causing the awakened latent abilities group to quickly form a formation. and from their eyes, at this time, in front of the group, there was a pack of wolves rushing towards them. A big guy wearing a tank top among them saw this and shouted, "Old Jin!" I know, it's just a level 1 demon wolf. Old Jin, in a red shirt, calmly said, then slowly walked forward. And at the moment when these wolves charged towards him, he also used his power to create 2 fireballs in the palm of his hand, then shot them straight ahead. And not knowing if this fireball finally hit any monster or not, but it really created a huge explosion, scaring the hell out of the ghost wolves as they quickly ran away. The guy with the 3-hole shirt on this side also turned to caution everyone. Stay vigilant, any dark quarter will show up and provoke. At this moment, the guy wearing glasses next to him also asked, "Where is our target?" "On the 5th floor. He calmly replied. Beside him, the girl holding a pair of swords also sensed something and said, "I don't know if it's an illusion or not, but the 1st floor of this shopping center seems to be 5 times larger, and the height is not just triple." The guy wearing glasses heard this and explained, "This is abyss distortion, a parallel world created based on reality, but the internal structure has completely changed, even the factions that were there before. Why didn't they leave any traces? Ha! Where are all the bodies?" When it comes to this point, he also turned back to remind the Yeop Gyeong team, "Hey, you garbage collectors, go find the body for me, don't just follow behind. Ha! You guys are only worthy of being garbage collectors." Turning back to Yeop Gyeong, while listening to the young man with glasses speaking, he continued to walk calmly forward, without realizing that old Jin had stopped and sat down to tie his shoelaces, and as a result, he bumped into him and fell to the ground, making him startle and shout, "You fool, can't you walk with your eyes open? Bumping into a garbage collector is disgusting. It's like running into a monster." He spoke while grabbing Yeop Gyeong's collar and lifting him up into the air like carrying a chicken. But luckily for Yeop Gyeong, the tank top guy had already intervened at this point. "Old Jin, stop fooling around with these garbage collectors. We still have a mission to accomplish." Old Jin on this side also knew that the mission was more important, so he could only grit his teeth and warn, "Kid, know your place and stay away from me." After speaking, he also casually threw Yeop Gyeong aside like trash. Yeop Gyeong, on the other hand, was being looked down upon by that guy, but he could only grit his teeth and endure, cursing silently in his heart. "Ashhole who looks down on others, scum of society, worthless trash." Those are the names society uses for people with 0 levels. However, he didn't know that he was about to level up. Your experience value is 99 100ths. You are about to reach the next level, level 1. But fate was too cruel to Yeop Gyeong, because right after splitting up to search for the bodies of the previous group, he and another scavenger encountered a demon wolf. "It's a demon beast. Run!" His companions shouted as they bolted away in a panic. But Yeop Gyeong just stood there, rooted to the spot, staring in bewilderment at the demon beast in front of him. Is it the one the previous group missed? He thought to himself as he stared ahead. From his view, it was an enormous demon wolf, but for some reason, it had the words, "the last drop of blood," above its head. These words seemed to give Yeop Gyeong a bit more courage. He then glanced behind him. There was a level 1 wooden shield and a level 1 wooden stick. The last drop of blood of this monster is the long-awaited opportunity I have been waiting for so long. Yeop Gyeong thought quickly and jumped to the side to dodge the wolf spirit's attack. At the same time, he grabbed the wooden stick and shield next to him. And once he regained his balance, he didn't wait for the wolf to strike, but Yeop Gyeong directly rushed in to attack, die. Yeop Gyeong shouted loudly and swung the wooden stick in his hand straight at the wolf's head. And the result was very surprising. The damage he caused was none other than around 0. The main character was also stunned by this scene, while the other garbage collectors behind saw Yeop Gyeong acting suicidal like this and shouted, "Yeop Gyeong, is he stupid? This kid is not just going to die in a day or 2. Don't you know only those who awaken latent abilities can cause damage to spirit beasts?" Yeop Gyeong thought to himself, "Of course I know," when he heard the voices from behind, and at the same time, he tried his best to dodge the attacks from the wolf. This is the current status of Yeop Gyeong. Yeop Gyeong, level 0, strength 1, agility 1, intelligence 1, willpower 1, physicality 1, luck 1. With such weak attribute values, even the weakest demon cannot break through the defense. Of course, I understand this better than anyone else because understanding that, I use my attack power. Yeop Gyeong started to think and then began to attack it with a stick again, not knowing what plan he was thinking of. Moving to the location of the Awakened Latent Abilities group, they had just finished clearing a pack of demon wolves, and now Mr. Jin remembered the appearance of those garbage pickers and laughed. "Ha ha ha, those guys must be scared to death, even demons are afraid of them." The guy in a tank top also agreed, saying, "We just need to kill a few monsters casually to make a lot of money, and they encounter monsters, they are completely helpless, they are really trash. We pick up the valuable treasures, let them pick up the rest. then call them here to clean up. He turned to speak to everyone, and at that moment, the girl in the group heard some noise and said, "Hey, boss, it seems like there's a monster mist over there," she said while pointing in a direction, and everyone nearby quickly turned to look, and without waiting long, the screams of the garbage pickers rang out, "It's a demon! Run fast!" Those awakened latent abilities listened and burst into laughter, just as the boss said. In the end, Boss Jin still doesn't want them to carry his luggage, so he immediately said, "It's really a hassle. I'll go deal with it. Request for that purple outfit, it belongs to me. No one can take it." He pointed to the image of a purple hat next to him, then turned to Yeop Gyeong, whose situation was quite critical at this point. The sharp fangs of the ghost wolf were deeply embedded in his shoulder, causing blood to gush out. In this desperate situation, Yeop Gyeong also became furious. Absolutely cannot die like trash. He shouted furiously, holding tightly onto the wooden stick in his hand and using all his strength to thrust it straight into the wolf's eye socket. Thankfully, this cunning blow appeared violent and inflicted a point of damage. The ghost wolf, after howling in pain, fell to the ground, uncertain of life or death. Upon seeing the wolf lying down, Yeop Gyeong was finally able to breathe a sigh of relief. He couldn't help but shout with joy, but at that moment, footsteps beside Yeop Gyeong caught his attention. "Oh wow, you managed to kill a low-level wolf on your own. Want to be a hero? You think you're invincible. We didn't pay for your life, you trash." Old Jin grabbed Yeop Gyeong by the collar and shouted angrily. Normally, Yeop Gyeong would have been furious even if he didn't dare to show it, but now his heart was filled with joy. The path to becoming awakened latent abilities is not singular. When the experience points accumulate to level 1, even someone with 0 levels can become awakened latent abilities, and it's even easier to draw out awakened latent abilities. To achieve this goal, I had to figure out how to increase all the necessary experience points. Moreover, for a 0-level person, dealing damage to demon beasts is harder than reaching the sky. But after many years of braving danger, finding attack gaps, dealing at least 1 point of damage, and painstakingly accumulating bit by bit, today, my efforts have finally borne fruit. This is the only way I could gain experience, Yeop Gyeong said happily. At the same time, a system notification appeared before him. Your experience points have reached 100/100s, meeting the conditions for leveling up. Old Jin across the street saw that, his eyes bulging out. Have you met the qualifications for promotion? With his gaze, Yeop Gyeong was now covered in a faint green light, a sign of awakened latent abilities from level 0 to level 1. Old Jin began to hold his breath to see what mysterious skills Yeop Gyeong would receive, and the mysterious skill that our main character received was a garbage collector, officially recognized by the system. Not the job of a garbage collector that Yeop Gyeong was hired to do, and the professional level limit of this job was level 1. In other words, level 1 was already the maximum level. After seeing his future occupation, Yeop Gyeong's face turned dumbfounded. Even Old Jin couldn't help but burst into tears laughing. Ha 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 ha. What kind of mysterious skill is this? An awakened latent abilities garbage collector is still just a garbage collector, and the maximum level is only level 1. Sorry, I really can't resist turning your precious opportunity into a real garbage collector, very deserving of you, he said while patting Yeop Gyeong's shoulder, and after finishing laughing boredly, his expression immediately changed and he coldly said, "Listen carefully, garbage picker level 1, now all your comrades have fled, so this cleanup task will be done by you, fellow. Talking to you is also fun." After saying these words, Jin also turned and left, leaving Yeop Gyeong behind, still pondering his thoughts. Garbage pickers are so weak. If the rank of a garbage picker is only level 1, then it's impossible to rely on promotions to increase attributes. What is the true ability of a garbage picker after all? Yeop Gyeong, as he said this, turned to look at the body of the demon wolf beside him, and according to his gaze, at this moment, the body was emitting a faint light. Then shortly after, the system also displayed a message, detected recoverable garbage, low-level demon wolf. The fact that the body can be recovered, this sudden message also made our main character somewhat bewildered, and in that moment of impulse, he agreed to the system's request. Upon receiving this confirmation from Yeop Gyeong, he suddenly noticed countless hands appearing behind his back, each filled with magical charms. This is the skill of a garbage collector. Yeop Gyeong muttered as he watched these hands slowly pull the phantom wolf's body into the dark space behind him. Then a black screen also displayed a few lines of text. Garbage decomposition. Without making Yeop Gyeong wait long, it also provided a notification. Decomposition complete. Then a pair of hands emerged from within the black space and handed Yeop Gyeong a card, at which point he also received a confirmation message. You have acquired the Scout's Soul. You have obtained 3 free attribute points. Collect cards from corpses and freely distribute attributes. Opening the attribute sheet, Yeop Gyeong quickly turned to look at his attributes. At this point, the system issued a notification. He needs 3 agility points to use this card, so just put all 3 free attribute points into agility. Yeop Gyeong pressed the plus sign on the agility line as he spoke. And at the moment his agility points reached 3, the system also gave the option. You have met the conditions to use the Wolf Ghost. Do you want to use it or not? Yeop Gyeong didn't hesitate and said, use. Then the card turned into a stream of green light entering Yeop Gyeong's body. Is that all? And will it be effective? He wondered, but before Yeop Gyeong could think further, the voice of Elder Jin ahead rang out. Come clean up quickly. Yes, I'm coming. Yeop Gyeong hurriedly spoke and started running forward. However, with just one step, he stepped so hard that the floor cracked into pieces, causing him to uncontrollably rush forward. Luckily, he tripped over a tree root and fell flat on the ground, finally managing to stop. That was the skill. Yeop Gyeong spoke while paying attention to the notification screen ahead, where in his eyes it was the skill of the Wolf Ghost Soul. After finishing speaking, Yeop Gyeong slowly sat up and sighed, but then his eyes widened when in front of him now were countless bodies of demon wolves with a notification popping up. Attributes can be retrieved. Not only can attributes be retrieved, but also the abilities of the monsters can be retrieved. This is the maximum special ability of a garbage collector. The garbage collector is surprisingly powerful. Yeop Gyeong smiled and said, while starting to retrieve these bodies, you have gained 3 free attribute points, which can be divided. You receive 2 free attribute points, which can be divided. Sounds like these kept echoing. Yeop Gyeong started to collect the bodies of the wolves, but after a while, he also realized a few things, from the first touch of the dead body of the demon wolf as soul attack ability, then swallowing similar dead bodies but not collecting any new abilities. Furthermore, the more dead bodies of the same species are collected, the rewards will gradually decrease. It seems that only when new skills are collected, rewards can be received. Duplicate skills will not be received again. Ignoring the issue of skills, Yeop Gyeong was a little hesitant. The accumulated points can be divided up to 111 points now. So which attribute should I add to make it better? It seems like there will be no shortage of attribute points in the future. Yeop Gyeong thought for a moment, then came up with a brilliant idea and smiled. It's better to decisively distribute all the points evenly. After speaking, Yeop Gyeong evenly raised all of his remaining attributes to 20 points. Turning back to the Awakened Latent Abilities group, they were dealing with the last few remaining wolves, and after finishing, the guy in a tank top was surprised. Are you saying that Kid changed his profession to a garbage collector? This is a profession that has never been on the list of changes. Maybe it's a big profession. The guy with glasses beside him chuckled disdainfully after hearing that. Every year there is a hidden profession added to the list of major career changes, but the most valuable professions ranking hardly ever changes. What they call hidden professions are mostly just for fun. Lao Jin agreed and said, it seems his highest rank is only level 1, at most rank F, maybe just slightly stronger than rank 0, or even no change at all. The youth in the 3-hole shirt, upon hearing this, also lost interest, then said, don't pay attention to him. Let's continue moving forward, be vigilant of our surroundings. So, the Awakened Latent Abilities group continued to move until they reached a giant tree trunk ahead and stopped, not because they didn't want to go further, but the terrifying scene in front of them made them have to stop. In their eyes on the tree trunk, there was a body pierced by countless tree branches. The youth in the 3-hole shirt also examined this person's equipment and deduced. We have found the mission target. This is the team leader, Angin of the Eagle team. At that moment, the girl beside him also questioned, land bump. Why is there a land bump in the shopping mall? This is the 5th floor. Turning back to the youth wearing glasses, he also approached the body and anxiously said, the metamorphic abyss time here hasn't exceeded 48 hours in total, yet the body can drive to this extent. It must have been sucked dry of essence by some mysterious magic. The girl holding a sword listened and said anxiously, we've been walking along a path only to encounter the lowest ranking werewolves, who are members of the B+ evil hunting squad, yet they all died here. Isn't that strange? As soon as the girl said this, the group next to them began to howl fiercely. The captain in a 3-hole shirt quickly observed the surroundings and discovered a multitude of bizarre corpses crawling out from the ground where they were standing. The number of these bodies far exceeded what he had imagined. He remembered some urgent information he had seen on TV before about the appearance of a metamorphic abyss in Shinpyeongsi, which had entered the stage of level B metamorphosis, and the number of missing people had reached 217. Realizing the situation was dire, he shouted, everyone, retreat quickly. Those are metamorphic beings. We've been set up. Upon hearing this, the remaining people immediately entered combat mode, surrounded by countless dead bodies. Old Jin immediately said, why didn't we find their bodies? Turns out they were all concentrated here, piled up like a mountain of corpses. As old Jin started using fire to attack, the young man in the three-hole shirt replied, "The road ahead only encounters low-level demons. It turns out they are just bait to lure the enemy deeper. The true master of this abyss is that tree in front of us." In their eyes, the tree was now moving and transforming into a giant tree person with 3 eyes. This was the high-level, A-rank tree hell, and while the group was still surprised by the sudden appearance of this high-level monster, old Jin in the back also noticed something and shouted, "Everyone look up, the evil hunting team has revived." Upon hearing his words, everyone quickly looked up and saw the corpses of the hunting team descending straight towards them, turning back to Yeop Gyeong, who still had no idea about the battle situation above, happily collecting the bodies of the burned wolves. And after a while of collecting bodies, he finally achieved his first accomplishment, picking up trash for the first time outside the tent, collecting 50 bodies. You will receive a reward, a level 1 standard dagger reward. Yeop Gyeong, who was eagerly anticipating the reward, felt his emotions plummet to the bottom after seeing this trash reward. The necessary level was 1. This profession was useless. The gift was also rubbish, truly ridiculous. Yeop Gyeong said boredom. But at this moment, behind Yeop Gyeong, he heard some noises, which made him curious, so he turned back to observe, and what caught Yeop Gyeong's eye was the sight of a female zombie running straight towards him at the speed of light, and this marathon-running female zombie also terrified Yeop Gyeong, as this female undead not only knew how to run, but also how to punch. As it advanced towards Yeop Gyeong, it threw a giant fist at him. Luckily, Yeop Gyeong had increased his agility significantly, so he was able to dodge, quickly somersaulting backwards to keep a distance. Yeop Gyeong exclaimed in fear, "Oh my god, you scared the hell out of me. I thought I was done for." At that moment, he noticed his own reaction and felt his body had become more agile. Is it because my attribute points have increased? It seems I've really gotten stronger. Yeop Gyeong thought, clenching his fist and smiling joyfully. While he was still lost in thought and not paying attention to the enemy ahead, the female zombie charged straight at him, claws aimed for his throat. But once again, his increased agility saved him just in time. With a light leap, he retreated a full meter back, and as soon as he regained his balance, Yeop Gyeong prepared to attack. Not just agility, I've also increased my attack power. I'm in awakened latent abilities now. This time, I have to be confident, Yeop Gyeong thought as he initiated a soul attack. He then stomped hard on the ground and charged forward, aiming his fist straight ahead. "It's my turn now. This time, there won't be any 0 damage." Yeop Gyeong shouted loudly and sent the female zombie flying towards the window. And his punch also made the female zombie vomit a bunch of purple blood. Activate Check Your Power. Break through the target's defense effectiveness. Increase physical damage by 100%. Looking back at Yeop Gyeong, after seeing the zombie hit by him in such a devastating blow, he confidently said, "I'm not the same as before this time." But at this moment, the system gave him another notification. 20 intelligence points, your vision is enhanced, and you can explore hidden information about the target. Upon hearing this, Yeop Gyeong also began to focus his gaze on the female undead and stared at it. Then, as the system notified him, hidden information about this monster also appeared before Yeop Gyeong. Parasitized humanity, superior rank, weakness to fire, connecting part near the neck. And while Yeop Gyeong was still observing, the female zombie on the opposite side roared and charged towards him. Yeop Gyeong also actively charged towards her. At the moment its claws swung towards him, he ducked down and slid past the female zombie's body. Taking advantage of its momentary delay in reacting, Yeop Gyeong immediately used the ordinary dagger he had just received and slashed at its weak point, the neck. Soon after, Yeop Gyeong's luck was activated. Luck check activated, normal dagger effect initiated, effect achieved, blood extraction successful. You have killed a parasitized human, physical condition check activated, poison effect nullified. With this notification, the purple blood stains on Yeop Gyeong's hands immediately disappeared. He joyfully thought, "I did it. This is the first time I've dealt with a monster on my own." And finally, it was time to reap the rewards. After retrieving the body of the parasitized human, Yeop Gyeong received a passive skill, Toxin Conversion. Converts the poison effect, reversing the poison damage and transforming it into a beneficial effect for you. Requires physical condition greater than 15. After reading the description of this skill, Yeop Gyeong felt a little dizzy. The effect of transforming toxic chemicals, meaning that spoiled toxic drugs can be turned into nutritious ones, is used quickly use. His passive skill has increased the transformation of toxic chemicals. His system has received 5 points of free attribute values, skipping the skill incident. After analyzing the body of that monster, Yeop Gyeong also received something called Degenerate Poison, which is extremely toxic and should not be used under normal circumstances. But at least for someone with the skill of transforming toxic chemicals like Yeop Gyeong, This becomes powerful. Let's see how effective this is. Yeop Gyeong began to drink all of this toxic potion, and indeed, the system did not deceive him. Immediately after drinking this toxic potion, the system issued a notification. The poisoning effect was reversed because the transformation of toxic chemicals had been turned into a therapeutic effect, receiving an uplifting spirit buff. All basic attribute values doubled, and the effect lasted for 10 minutes. Yeop Gyeong smiled and said, "Hey ha, the wound has healed, the effect is really strong, I feel a force overflowing." Next, he looked at the attribute distribution panel and thought, I remember that after adding intelligence points to a certain value, I can see additional hidden information about the target. So this time, let's allocate 5 attribute points to intelligence first. As he spoke, he began to distribute his attribute points. Yeop Gyeong's current status panel. Name, Yeop Gyeong. Level, 1, maximum achieved. Awaken latent abilities, Scavenger. Strength, 40, dulled due to enhancement effect. Agility, 40. Intelligence, 50. Physique, 40. Luck, 40. Coincidentally, just after Yeop Gyeong finished allocating his attribute points, he heard more screams from the zombies behind him. Are the monsters spilling out again? But this time, there seems to be quite a few, he said, glancing at the horde of monsters crawling behind him. Society calls me trash, useless, and a waste. But now I can proudly tell them my name is Yeop Gyeong. I am a scavenger. Come on, you trash, bring it on. Yeop Gyeong shouted loudly and prepared to fight the zombies to the death. Changing scenes to the location of the Awakened Latent Abilities group, they were still struggling against the zombie members of Team Eagle, who had transformed. Even though these individuals had turned into zombies, they were still incredibly strong. With just one swing of an axe, they could easily push the teenager in a tank top back. The teenager in a tank top couldn't help but exclaim, "Dan!" Even as just a corpse, their strength might be slightly greater than when they were alive, not to mention the flesh-eating monster over there. After realizing that they were running without being able to escape from the horde of monsters behind them, the teenager in a tank top shouted, "Dan, they just keep swarming us." Turning towards old Jin, he was now filled with deep regret for entering this place. I came here for the money and equipment, but if I lose my life here, it won't be worth it at all. To increase his chances of survival, old Jin decided to betray his teammates. He had cast some sort of debuff on the young man in a tank top in front of him, causing him to move much slower. The young man in the tank top shouted, "Old Jin, you crazy bastard, what are you doing? I'm one of your own." Old Jin smiled at him, saying, "Sorry, I just needed to slow them down a bit. I'll like 2 incense sticks for you when we get back." After saying this, old Jin immediately ran away, leaving behind the young man in the tank top being torn apart by the zombies from the Eagle team. As for old Jin, after temporarily shaking off the zombies behind him, he thought with relief, "Now that I've run away, I haven't lost out. At least I have some equipment. Worst case scenario, I'll find some excuse to cover up this incident when I get outside." He thought this as he glanced back to check if he was being pursued. Then immediately, Jin also crashed into some figure in front, causing him to fall to the ground. And after seeing the face of this figure clearly, he shouted, "Damn it, it's your trash again." Yeop Gyeong over here looked at him with a disdainful look and said, "Asshole, betraying your own teammates just to survive." After he said this, Jin also noticed the pile of corpses behind him and asked hesitantly, "Did you do all of this?" Before Yeop Gyeong could respond, the desperate scream of the boy in a tank top behind them rang out. It seemed like he had also met his ancestors, and his scream woke Jin up and made him think, "I can't let him leave here. If he tells the supervisors, then it won't end well." Thinking this, he raised his foot and kicked Yeop Gyeong straight in the chest while yelling, "You think you're strong? You think you're better than everyone else? Well, now's the time. Get out and become bait for the monster." Unfortunately, he chose the wrong person to step on because the moment his foot touched Yeop Gyeong, he felt like he had kicked an iron wall, he receiving a strong recoil, and fell in pain. "What a filthy piece of trash, what's happening?" He cried out in agony, but Yeop Gyeong, feeling that he had been sneak attacked, also became furious. "You're such an asshole, not even worth the trash you are." Yeop Gyeong activated his trash collecting skills and commanded his giant arms to grab old Jin and pull him into a dark space, which seemed to also despise the trash like Jin. After some analysis, it concluded this trash cannot be recycled, so it will not be accepted. It then threw old Jin back to Yeop Gyeong, who also complained at his arms, "Not all trash can be recycled." In response to Yeop Gyeong's complaint, the system announced recycling ability upgraded. In agreement with the target, useless abilities could be recycled, such as the magician's spell card for 3 minutes. It seemed this was an ability extracted by Yeop Gyeong's arms from old Jin. Yeop Gyeong murmured, "So passing out is considered as agreeing, right? That's really convenient." Using the magician's spell experience card quickly received the ability to control the fiery domain. Fireball spell requires 15 intelligence points. Your current intelligence value is 50 points. Activate the super effect Fireball, evolves into a giant fireball. After using the card, the monsters were defeated. He found the Fireball spell too powerful, remembering Asphalt did something like this before. He released a terrifying fireball forward. The force was so strong that the entire surrounding area was blown away. As a result, the monsters flew away in just one note. Yeop Gyeong regretted not recycling more, but before he could regret more turns, the zombie assassin rushed straight towards him. Luckily, Yeop Gyeong discovered in time and was able to dodge his deadly attack, then quickly retreated to keep distance, but it must be admitted that this zombie had an extremely agile trait. As Yeop Gyeong retreated, it also closed in on him and launched a piercing stab, but unfortunately for it, he once again leaned to the side to dodge this stab, even quick to draw out his short sword and retaliate. But the zombie assassin was swift in blocking with a super fast strike. Looking back at Yeop Gyeong, the unique fighting skill of this zombie also made him feel somewhat difficult. He hesitated and glanced at the body of the man in the tank top, lying limply on the floor, and muttered, "You don't want to be resurrected after death by that thing, do you? Better help me out." The man began to use his skills to revive this person, and thanks to his contribution, Yeop Gyeong received a skill called Golden Shield. But at this moment, the zombie assassin in front also rushed forward to attack again. Yeop Gyeong immediately used his new skill to create a shield on his hand, then struck the shield straight at the zombie assassin, making its head fly off immediately. After the zombie was dead, Yeop Gyeong didn't intend to spare it. "Sorry, but your body needs to be recycled well. Rest in peace." As Yeop Gyeong spoke, he began to use his skills, immediately receiving the skill card. Receive a specialization card in Dagger. You can use the dagger like thieves, moreover, launching dagger stabs like a storm. Yeop Gyeong found it useful, immediately used the card, and felt the ordinary item in his hand became more flexible. After using this card, he murmured in satisfaction. Next, Yeop Gyeong continued with his waste recycling job. After receiving the Gold Shield skill, he fought more confidently and dared to rush towards a group of monsters alone. Currently, these low-level zombies are quite weak compared to Yeop Gyeong's high attribute stats. With just one strike, he could easily wipe them out. Moreover, during the battle, he successfully collected the body of one of the zombies and acquired a skill called Berserk. This skill increases both strength and agility and temporarily provides immunity to control effects. With this skill's assistance, his speed in killing monsters became even swifter. However, things only became truly tense when he encountered the boss monster of the Abyss. Your mission is to find the evil team and get them out of the instance, right? Yes. If you don't find their bodies, it will be considered a failed mission, and you won't receive any compensation. Understood, of course, I know. So, have you found the bodies of the evil team in the instance? Are you crazy? Of course I found them. It's just that they've already been retrieved. Retrieved? What do you mean? They've been pulled into the Abyss by someone. The scene shifted to the Abyss supervision room where Jin was invited by the committee to have tea and casually asked about the situation inside the dungeon. Is there only you who survived in this dungeon? The person you mentioned does not exist, and there is a very strange point that is when you were discovered, your level dropped to level 1, which is also a strange occurrence that has never been seen before. Upon hearing this, old Jin became as happy as if he had found gold and exclaimed, "I told you, my abilities have also been revoked by him. Ha ha. This is the evidence. He is a scavenger, definitely." At this point, Jin himself found it hard to believe the words he uttered, and the men in black opposite him also thought he had gone crazy. The degree of pollution caused by Abyss energy is extremely high. What kind of hallucinations have appeared after recovery? No, I am not deceiving you. I am really not deceiving you. He is really a scavenger. Old Jin hurriedly tried to clarify, but perhaps no one believed him. Returning back to Yeop Gyeong, he is currently at an entrance to the Abyss somewhere. As for the incident with the gate at the Shinpeng shopping center, after leaving, he sold all the demon stones at the black market, but only received about 30% of the money. This is because trading demon stones has always been monopolized by large corporations. If done independently, it would be illegal, and selling in the black market incurs a 70% processing fee. Nevertheless, with the amount of demon stones he brought out, he was able to pay off the heavy loan with high interest that he took out years ago. However, after settling the debt, he didn't have much left. If he continues to use his retrieval abilities in front of many people, there is a risk of being reported to the Supervisory Association. Not to mention that he is still someone who has awakened to his hidden talents. If they find out, they may detain him and conduct research for months or even years. He must take advantage of this freedom to earn a little more money. Yeop Gyeong reminds himself. And at this moment, in front of the crowd, There was a man in armor stepping forward and saying, "This is the newly formed abyss. Everything is a mystery. Surely everyone knows the risks inside. So this time the reward will be doubled. Those who have the awakened latent abilities qualification can come to me to register," emphasizing a bit, only those with a B-level qualification or higher. On the opposite side, Yeop Gyeong, after listening, pointed to himself and said, "Do you think I qualify like this? Your awakened latent abilities is a class 1 garbage collector." Yeop Gyeong calmly stated, and as expected by the main character, the man in armor on the opposite side couldn't help but burst into laughter after hearing this. "Ha ha, now anything trashy dares to call themselves awakened latent abilities. You're not even worthy to pass by the garbage collector over there and line up obediently for me." Turning back to Yeop Gyeong, his reaction was exactly what he wanted, proactively showing his weakness to reduce others' guard, most likely to be assigned to some support team. So even if everyone behind was secretly recovering bodies with garbage, no one would notice. This is his lazy plan. But unfortunately, things did not go as planned by him, because right now, behind both of them, a loud shout rang out, "Let go quickly, take him with you. The number of our people is just enough." These words were from a white-haired girl, dressed extremely cool, and the people around started gossiping when they saw her appear. She is from the Ryu family with mysterious skills, awakening the latent abilities of gods. She is the rising star of the Zong Gonghui hunting team, known as Ryu Cheon Seong, the chosen child of the gods. On this side, the team leader, after hearing this, also hesitantly said, "But this kid clearly only has a level 1, moreover, they are a newbie, without certification of skills." Upon hearing this, Ryu Seong-yoon coldly responded, "Whether they are a newbie or not doesn't matter. Even if they are all just level 1, it doesn't matter. All of you are just trash collected to make up the numbers." The captain, even after seeing her act so disdainfully, could still smile and say, yes, Miss Ryu, we are just responsible for your safety. This is your family's property. Of course, we will follow your orders." Turning to Yeop Gyeong, he also felt a bit lucky. It was too dangerous. Almost thought I would be kicked out. Anyway, it's not like it's my first day picking up trash. At this point, he also noticed Ryu Seong-yoon looking at him with judgmental eyes, which made the main character think, "But Ryu Seong-yoon, I think I've met her somewhere before. Oh, about 2 years ago." Yeop Gyeong muttered and recalled the memory from 2 years ago, when Ryu Seong-yoon was fighting a monster and her weapon broke in half. It was then that Yeop Gyeong rushed in to attack, using a simple wooden stick to stab the beast in the throat and causing a critical damage point, ultimately defeating the monster and gaining experience from it. Ryu Seong-yoon was amazed when she saw the scene in front of her. "You are a garbage collector. Why can you kill monsters like that?" Yeop Gyeong didn't pay much attention to her words as he was overflowing with joy. Success. This is the first time I have successfully gained an experience point. It was then that he remembered Ryu Seong-yoon's presence and quickly turned to ask, "Are you okay?" Ryu Seong-yoon, who had by now understood everything, said in surprise, "I've heard of this rumor before, but I didn't expect someone to really try to level up like this, using this method to gain experience points. Why?" Yeop Gyeong casually replied, "Of course, it's to earn money." But this only made Ryu Seong-yoon more incredulous. "I don't believe it. Using up lives each time to exchange for experience points." To this, Yeop Gyeong coldly retorted, "What do you understand? The awakened latent abilities are sitting up there. How can you understand the suffering of garbage collectors like us? Instead of sticking with the team, you don't even need lives anymore. Facing so many monsters alone, why do you go inside by yourself? What are you trying to prove?" Ryu Seong-yoon confidently affirmed after listening, "Of course, in order to become stronger, I will be the first to pass through there." Yeop Gyeong thought about it and worriedly asked, "So what are you thinking about there?" It seems like Ryu Seong-yoon doesn't want to talk much about this issue, so she asked about the main character. "Tell me, what is your real purpose for wanting to awaken latent abilities?" "My family wants to become stronger, and I have to protect my family too. Tell me your name, Yeop Gyeong." Ryu Seong-yoon smiled and introduced, "My name is Ryu Seong-yoon. I look forward to the day when you can awaken mysterious skills successfully. Wait for you to awaken latent abilities and then join my team. Let's conquer that place together," she said while pointing towards Yeop Gyeong, who also happily replied, "All right, don't hinder me when the time comes. Wait until you survive and awaken latent abilities before talking. Just now I killed 30 ghost beasts alone. You have only managed to damage one. That's not right. Let's say half a beast." Ryu Seong-yoon smiled and said, and at this moment, Ryu Seong-yoon's 2 bodyguards rushed to the scene and exclaimed, "Oh my god, Miss Ryu, you made us search so hard, and yet you sneaked into the deep abyss." Noticing Yeop Gyeong standing beside Ryu Seong-yoon, they warned, "Hey, you trash picker, don't get near our young lady. The captain is about to lose his temper. One more step, and he might break your leg. Let's quickly go back. They grabbed the girl and took her away, and before leaving, Ryu Seong-yeom threw a magic stone to Yeop Gyeong and said, "Take this. Consider it as half of your reward." Back to reality, Yeop Gyeong had already forgotten the girl's name. "What's her name again? I think it's Ryu something." Yeop Gyeong muttered. Seeing Yeop Gyeong confused, the captain slapped him and reminded him, "It's Ryu Seong-yeom. Stop dilly-dallying. Go get the stones. Yes, yes, I will try not to hinder everyone." Yeop Gyeong hurriedly replied. Upon hearing this, Ryu Seong-yeom spoke up, "Very well. Prepare your equipment. We are ready to depart." That way, everyone started pulling each other inside the gate, and Yeop Gyeong also whispered to himself at this time. This time, he must try to make money, then survive and return. In the previous Abyss battle, Yeop Gyeong obtained the Thief's Golden Shield skill card, the Warrior's Strength, and finally the boss-level power, the Super Resurrection of Tree Hell. Due to Yeop Gyeong's hexagonal point addition method, there will be no obvious weaknesses in the transformation. Any profession attributes points belong to the average point addition method of the hexagon, all adding up to over 100 points. After all, he was the one who cleaned up recyclable items in the Abyss, but he still did not know what level he was if he had to compare. Thinking about this, he also started to use his observation eyes to check the information of the people in front. First, the guy with this horn hat. His stats really disappointed Yeop Gyeong. Energy only has 12 points. Furthermore, his intellect is the lowest, only at 1 point. If 1 point is the power unit of an ordinary person, then a warrior with 12 strength points will roughly be 12 times stronger than an ordinary person. So if his strength points are 100, he will roughly be 100 times stronger than an ordinary person. He was walking and thinking that not long after, the team captain walking ahead suddenly turned back and said to everyone, "I have discovered a chest, but it's a bit difficult. It seems that there is no thief in our team. This chest is at least grade A." They regretted it, and at this point, Yeop Gyeong behind raised his hand and said, "I can give it a try." After saying that, Yeop Gyeong also approached and did something with the chest, and not long after, the chest opened and released countless equipment cards. Yeop Gyeong thought to himself, unlocking is as easy as eating rice. At this point, the team captain looked at Yeop Gyeong in amazement and asked, "The lockpicking ability must reach the level of a grade 5 thief, right?" Hearing this, Yeop Gyeong turned back and explained, "A janitor can learn many useful skills because they often encounter locked chests, right?" Turning to the team captain, after hearing Yeop Gyeong's explanation, he no longer doubted and gathered up these equipment cards, saying, "Wait a bit after completing this abyss and then distribute them. Now let's continue forward. Yes, yes." The mage girl said boredly. However, just as she was preparing to move, Yeop Gyeong also realized something and stopped her. "Wait, stop. There seems to be something ahead." Yeop Gyeong picked up a stone from the ground while the sorceress still didn't understand. What does he want to talk about? Then Yeop Gyeong threw the stone straight at the walls in the opposite corridor, and it seemed that this stone also activated some mysterious mechanism, because as soon as the stone hit the walls began to move and clash together. If Yeop Gyeong hadn't warned her, she might have been crushed. At this point, she looked at him with extreme suspicion and asked, "Are you really a grade 1? Yeop Gyeong hesitated and said, "Don't mind, it's just accidentally hitting things that are my specialty. Picking up garbage will often collide with traps, suffering too much in this domain." Suddenly, the ability to perceive traps clearly. This is nothing strange, isn't it? Ah, so that's how it is. All three of them said in unison, the reason they believed Yeop Gyeong's words so quickly is because he activated a special effect, the ability to turn lies into truth. The target becomes easier to persuade. Yeop Gyeong thought to himself, "Wow, this is the power of 100 intelligence points, isn't it?" To reward Yeop Gyeong for this action, the team captain casually threw him an old hammer and said, "Here's your reward, accept it with gratitude." The hammer in hand was in a normal worn state, but still usable. After seeing the hammer, Yeop Gyeong felt bored and didn't bother to say, "It seems they still don't think much of me." Then the group continued on their way, and not long after, they arrived at a large hall, which made the group slightly happy. "What is this, the treasure at the final gate? Reaching here is too easy. This abyss probably has no monsters." Someone exclaimed upon seeing a delicate cup placed in the middle of the hall. "Reward room. A room without monsters, only treasures, a type of abyss once in 1,000 years. The youth wearing a horn hat quickly took a photo of the floating stone tablet above the cup to observe, causing Ryu Seong-yeom to warn, "Don't be too excited. Pay attention to the direction. There may be monsters. No, this square block is surely all the items in this abyss. We finally got the treasure, so get ready to withdraw," he said happily. But at this moment, the blood in the cup in front of everyone suddenly foamed and shot straight into the sky. And before everyone could understand what was happening, the system issued a warning, initiating Curse of Blood, begin. Upon seeing this scene, someone exclaimed, "Damn, this is not a reward room at all. It's completely a trap. It's Curse of Blood." As the voice rang out, the column of blood in the sky slowly transformed into countless grotesque heads. Seeing this, Ryu Seong-yoon quickly took out her weapon and said, "Everyone get ready to fight." Following her words, everyone quickly turned their backs to each other to avoid being attacked from all sides, because at this point they were surrounded by countless monsters. Yeop Gyeong on this side is also quietly calculating. To prevent attributes from being exposed, this time using 25% of the power to fight is enough. He said while equipping himself with a Ring of the Weak, which reduces all the wearer's attributes by a certain percentage. I don't know where Yeop Gyeong found this ring, but its ability is truly garbage among garbage, because the ring can only reduce attributes. What use does it have? But in this case, at least it helps Yeop Gyeong a bit in hiding his own abilities. Next, the battle officially begins, and Yeop Gyeong immediately uses his strong mental skills to increase speed. And with just one jump, Yeop Gyeong easily rushes forward to the monster and immediately slays it, while the others still struggle to fight the remaining monsters. Ryu Seong-yoon next to him also notices Yeop Gyeong doing this and mutters, "Just with one move, how interesting." After saying that, she casually swings her sword and cuts the monster in front into countless pieces. Returning to the young man with horns after a while of fighting, he could not help but angrily say, "What kind of demon is this? It disintegrates upon touch," as he transformed back into our form. This is the Curse of Blood. In its basic state, it is very fragile. When attacking, it will enhance itself based on the opponent's strength and mimic the opponent's state. The horned young man also quickly dealt with this monster, while the mage behind him praised, "Well done." But before they could celebrate, despite losing its head, the body could still move, even swinging its weapon fiercely towards the horned young man, resulting in his hand being immediately severed, and he screamed in agony. Meanwhile, the mage also felt confused, murmuring, "Cutting off the head doesn't work. Could it be that this one cannot be killed?" At this moment, the blood warrior raised his sword and swung it forcefully towards the horned young man, aiming to end his life. But fortunately for him, just as the sword was about to cleave him in half, it stopped abruptly. The reason was simple. The blood warrior had been turned into an ice statue by Ryu Seong-yoon. The ease with which the horned young man lost an arm made him a target of her disdain. "You are all so useless, just a minor curse, and yet you put on such a pathetic display. Indeed, trash remains trash." As she spoke, she casually smashed the blood warrior's head. The battle continued. Due to the curse's ability to regenerate their bodies, the cursed creatures were not affected by the damage from blades and kept charging like crazed beasts towards the group. The mage girl exclaimed, "It's too fast, we can't even cast mysterious magic in time." Yeop Gyeong, standing next to her, immediately stepped in front of her, saying, "The sword has no effect on it. Then just make it vanish right here, great blaze flame." Yeop Gyeong launched a powerful and mysterious fiery magic attack in front of him, leaving the mage behind in awe, exclaiming, "Great blaze flame, this is an S-rank elemental magic. Cast spells in the blink of an eye. This is not a mistake. A one-star player can be this powerful." They exclaimed in shock as they turned back to Yeop Gyeong after using the fiery attack to defeat the group in front of them, only to have two other monsters appear in front of him. Seeing Yeop Gyeong defeat their companions, they growled in anger and charged towards him. Yeop Gyeong, facing them, also roared loudly to see whose voice was louder. His voice came with a stunning effect, causing the cursed creatures rushing towards him to freeze. Seizing the opportunity, he activated his Berserk State skill, a unique ability of the Berserker class. In this Berserk State, speed, power, and damage increase by 100%. In this increasing power state, Yeop Gyeong only needs to unleash a punch to smash this curse into a bloody mess. But it seems to not be very effective, because right after that the blood clot starts gathering back together and returning to its original state without any injury. More like looking at this one, still feeling much stronger than the others. The sorceress from behind witnessing this also had to exclaim, "What's happening over there, king level? An abyss rank B monster. How can a king level monster exist? There must be some mistake somewhere." In her eyes, at this moment the curse in front had grown gigantic and turned into a king level curse of blood. And Yeop Gyeong at this moment also figured out the reason why this monster suddenly evolved like that. Maybe it can mimic the target's appearance and counter strength, then absorb its own attributes and directly evolve into king-level Curse of Blood. When Yeop Gyeong mentioned it, the Curse of Blood Emperor immediately swung its giant hand towards him, a powerful blow causing the ground to crack into pieces. Luckily, Yeop Gyeong had stepped back to maintain distance, feeling a bit challenged by the attack. If the attributes were equal, then fighting with dominant attributes was impossible. As the main character was still pondering how to handle the situation, Ryu Seong-yeum confidently stepped forward with her sword, saying, "Step back, little chick. Leave this strong opponent to me." Surprised, Yeop Gyeong looked at her, leading to a battle between the Curse of Blood Emperor and Ryu Seong-yeum. The giant creature made the first attack, using its long arms to strike at her. However, Ryu Seong-yeum reacted quickly, jumping up to dodge the attack and even actively launching a counterattack by running as if flying on its arms. When she reached the end of the arm, she leaped high, aiming straight for the head of the Curse of Blood. Meanwhile, she activated some kind of skill. However, this Curse of Blood Emperor is also very cunning. Immediately, it sensed the threat from this attack and used its stinger to block her strike. As soon as the sword touched the stinger, it was immediately frozen. Yeop Gyeong also recognized right away. This is the control skill, Ice Mist Domain, a skill similar to the Flame Charm Domain he received from Master Jin. In the battle, after blocking the attack from Ryu Seong-yeum, the Curse of Blood Emperor immediately swiped its claws towards her, and due to being in midair with no support to dodge, so she was knocked down by this giant monster. Luckily, Ryu Seong-yeum seemed to be uninjured after that blow. After a few quick clashes, Ryu Seong-yeum also felt a bit overwhelmed. "No, I am still too weak. If even this abyss creature cannot be overcome easily, then I am not worthy to inherit the Ryu family's legacy." Ryu Seong-yeum thoughtfully wielded her sword to dispel all the curses approaching her. She then pulled out a flag and planted it firmly on the ground, the Frost Flag, which boosts the speed of all allies within a 30 meters radius by 50%. As soon as the flag touched the ground, a cold mist burst out towards the blood-cursed monarch, instantly turning it into a block of ice. However, the monstrous creature was not easily controlled in this state. Knowing the freezing effect would only last for a short while, Ryu Seong-yeum immediately launched an attack. Her Frost Domain specialized in combating water-based curses, ensuring that even if the creature wasn't killed, it would be completely immobilized. Ryu Seong-yeum pondered silently before unleashing her Meteor Strike technique, slicing the blood-cursed monarch in half with a powerful sword key. Yeop Gyeong smiled when he saw this scene. This is the legendary S-rank Awakened Latent abilities that the gods have chosen. I was actually expecting the Blood Curse of the Imperial rank and Ryu Seong-yeum, the chosen warrior, who will be stronger. Turning to Ryu Seong-yeum, she also looked ahead in astonishment and said, "Why is it like this? It seems to have no effect at all." From her perspective, the Imperial rank Curse of Blood seemed to have almost no damage after the recent strike, or more accurately, she could only freeze its outer shell, not the blood inside, so after the shell broke from the previous strike, it simply restored to its original state. However, after the recent attack, the blood curse also sensed the threat to its life, so it began to relentlessly use its psychic power to attack her without stopping. Ryu Seong-yeum could only struggle to dodge amid the barrage of attacks. While evading, she inexplicably found time to think about various things. Even though we are all at level S, my strength is far inferior to that of the others. Even though I am also a Ryu, I am always left far behind. I am the weakest in the Ryu family, the one who is always mocked and ridiculed. You are truly a disgrace to the Ryu family. How could I have such a worthless younger sibling? No one wants to live with such trash. It's best to stay at home obediently. Little sister, Abyss is very dangerous. Ha ha ha. I must become stronger. Even starting from the beginner Abyss, as long as I keep challenging higher difficulties, there will come a day when I can surpass them all, surpass everyone. I must achieve this to the point of challenging everything alone. Ryu Seong-yeum let out a powerful yell and then swung her sword with all her might towards the skull of the Nightmare Curse. However, yelling didn't make her any stronger, because at the moment the sword struck the skull, it shattered into pieces. The unexpected had happened, leaving Ryu Seong-yeum stunned and taking advantage of this moment. The Nightmare Curse used its left arm to attack her from behind, knocking her to the ground as if swatting a fly. This powerful blow also caused Ryu Seong-yeum to cough up a bit of blood. Meanwhile, everyone behind had started to despair. Even Ryu Seong-yeum has lost, and an S-rank hunter has failed. We should run quickly. The mage rode behind hurriedly urged everyone to disperse. However, the Curse of Blood Sovereign still had no intention of letting Ryu Seong-yeum go as it raised its left arm once again, preparing to deliver a finishing blow. Seeing this, Yeop Gyeong rushed forward and delivered a violent flame attack. The force of this attack caused the monster's massive right arm to explode instantly, with the remaining part of the arm falling towards the people below, causing them to flee in panic. Following this, our protagonist charged straight towards the monster. At the same time, he used his observation skills to search for any weaknesses, hoping to find a way to counter it. If a monster reaches the level of a sovereign, it will gain resistance to various abnormal states. At high enough levels, it may even become completely immune to freezing, stunning, paralysis, slowing, and other effects. Even if there are areas that are normally considered weak points, these will be upgraded to normal points through leveling up. It seems that self-restriction of attributes is no longer necessary. It's time to unleash all attributes. Yeop Gyeong thought this as he destroyed the ring that limited his attributes. Immediately after, he launched another violent flame attack towards the remaining arm of the giant monster. This drove the Nightmare Curse into a rage. It immediately swung its massive arm towards him. Yeop Gyeong quickly turned and fled. While he was struggling in battle, Ryu Seong-yeum leisurely used a recovery potion from behind. Back to the fight, Yeop Gyeong performed a graceful tumble to dodge the Nightmare Curse's punch. As soon as he landed, he quickly retreated to maintain a safe distance. At the same time, Yeop Gyeong also pondered on a fighting plan. As long as we can find the weak point of the king-level Nightmare Curse, we will achieve our goal. Yeop Gyeong kept launching violent flames towards it like a machine gun, hoping to discover some weakness. However, no matter how much he attacked, the creature kept regenerating as usual. No matter how many positions he destroyed, they kept growing back, and upon observing it closely, he couldn't find any weakness. This monster seemed to be controlled remotely by something, and at this thought, Yeop Gyeong suddenly realized, wait, remotely controlled. At that moment, he figured something out and quickly turned back to everyone, saying, hey, that square block. When we brought it down, the Curse of Blood appeared, indicating a connection between that thing and the Nightmare Curse. Quickly pass it over here. The young man wearing a horned hat had regained the use of his arm. Hearing these words from Yeop Gyeong, he quickly turned to look at the stone tablet and immediately shot it forward. With his super high mental power, Yeop Gyeong also discovered the hidden information on the stone tablet. Through mental appraisal, he could recognize different ancient writings on the square block, read the ancient inscription on the square block, and dispel the blood curse. Yeop Gyeong was also surprised when he looked down. The clear solution was right in front of him. Knowing this, he had been using his eyes to observe from the beginning. Yeop Gyeong quietly regretted in his heart, but at this moment, before Yeop Gyeong could grab the stone tablet, the Nightmare Curse King quickly grabbed it, threw it straight into his mouth, and swallowed it in one gulp. Thanks to the contribution of the tablet, along with the foolish shot of the young man wearing the horned hat, this Nightmare Curse King entered the invincibility state. His whole body was now covered with a faint yellow aura, and Ryu Seong-yeum, who was behind him, curiously said, why isn't he moving anymore? Yeop Gyeong didn't pay attention to this remark. He just gritted his teeth and said, damn it, I was careless, and he entered the invincibility state, insane. Turning back to Ryu Seong-yeum, she also noticed Yeop Gyeong's face and said, I feel like I've met you somewhere before. Why do you look so familiar to me? Yeop Gyeong on the other side also puzzledly said, so you still don't recognize me. I met you in Abyss 2 years ago, and also the one who gave you half of the monster's experience points. That was the first time in my life I received an experience point. Ryu Seong-yeum then began to recall her memories and said, 39.5 ghost monsters. The Ashful who stole half of the ghost monster is you. Oh, I remember now. What's your name? Angry, Yeop Gyeong said, it's Yeop Gyeong. I can't believe you actually got promoted successfully. Yeop Gyeong confidently said, that's right. Now I'm a level 1 scavenger. At Yeop Gyeong's confidence made Ryu Seong-yeum have many thoughts. This guy always uses his skills to exchange for a bit of experience points and accumulates them one by one. Yet now, he has become so powerful, and I still. Thinking about it, she smiled awkwardly and said, ha ha ha, it's really embarrassing to say it out loud. The square will run all over Nightmare Curse's body. My ice domain can temporarily freeze it in an instant. Yeop Gyeong, can you find the location of the square in a short time? Hearing this, Yeop Gyeong also smiled and said, indeed, no matter who it is, there are times when you can't fight alone. Let's consider it as your 0.5 reward. We'll defeat this thing together. He said as he reached out his hand towards Ryu Seong-yeum, who also reached out to respond, saying, don't drag my leg. Ryu Seong-yeum said happily, and at this time, the extras in the team also spoke up, hold on, we also want to join the fight. That's right, even though we may not be of much help, but I want to do my part. All right, let's fight together. We must survive. Yeop Gyeong said with determination. Just like that, everyone begins to enter the battle state, and from their eyes at this moment, the stone tablet is being held by the Nightmare Curse right in the middle of its abdomen. Yeop Gyeong, through his appraisal eyes, also confirms its information, then warns invincibility state will be lifted in 5 seconds. The monster is entering a frenzy phase, will kill everyone in 30 seconds. The last chance in 30 seconds, this time, must survive outside. Yeop Gyeong hurriedly said, and his usual words made the crowd of actors behind more bloodthirsty than ever. Survive, must survive. They all screamed, and the reason they became so excited was also thanks to Yeop Gyeong's superhuman mental point, activating mental appraisal, stimulating success spirits, reducing fatigue spirits by 100%, mysterious magic recovery speed increased by 15%, maintained for 30 seconds. After witnessing this effect, Ryu Seong-yeom also smiled and thought, indeed, cannot underestimate the scavenger character. After finishing her thoughts, she also pointed her sword forward and ordered everyone, destroy whichever monster, everyone. And in response to her words, the bull-headed youth was the most enthusiastic. As soon as he heard it, he eagerly rushed forward and cursed this nightmare curse. Ashole, look at me. Ashole, look over here. And his words truly attracted the attention of the monstrous nightmare curse. It seemed to understand that he was being cursed, so it roared with anger and lunged its tentacles towards him. Seeing this, Ryu Seong-yeom quickly said to the mage girl behind him, Magician's spell, target the newly grown tentacles of the monster, assist the garbage collector. Because the mage girl hastily spoke, she then began to use her magic, creating energy beams straight towards the tentacles. It must be acknowledged that she aimed quite accurately, as all the tentacles were successfully blocked. At that moment, Yeop Gyeong spoke up. That square block is the key to unlocking the curse of blood. If it is burned by fireballs, this experiment will never close again. So what should we do now? Ryu Seong-yeom worriedly said, just return the result, no explanation needed, nothing else. I feel like I can use my hand to pull it out. Ryu Seong-yeom overheard her Yeop Gyeong say that and widened his eyes before saying, what, how can you use your hand to pull it out? Does that mean it goes into the belly of Nightmare Curse? More precisely, through the body of Nightmare Curse. Yeop Gyeong calmly said, and Ryu Seong-yeom understood Yeop Gyeong's intention, so he immediately gave orders to everyone. Take aim at the weak point, shoot down the boulders to create an escape route, understood. The archer quickly said, and then he aimed his bow upwards and then shot, and as a result, his arrow had also made a large hole in the ceiling, causing countless rocks and dirt to fall straight on the Nightmare Curse Prince. And at this time, Ryu Seong-yeom also pulled out his flag and said to Yeop Gyeong, I will freeze the lower half of Nightmare Curse. The next move is up to you. Okay, just leave it to me. Yeop Gyeong calmly said while observing the Nightmare Curse Prince struggling against the falling rocks and dirt from above. I think it might be possible to get it out with my hands, Yeop Gyeong said. Hearing this, Ryu Seong-yeom rolled her eyes and responded, What? How could you possibly get it out with your hands? Are you suggesting we crawl inside the Nightmare Curse, or more precisely, pass through its body? Yeop Gyeong calmly explained, and after Ryu Seong-yeom understood his plan, she turned to give orders to the others. Target the weak points and shoot down the magma to create an escape route. Understood, the archer quickly said, then aimed his bow upwards and released an arrow. The result was that the arrow created a large hole in the ceiling, causing a torrent of debris to rain down on the Nightmare Curse Sovereign. At this moment, Ryu Seong-yeom also withdrew her flag and said to Yeop Gyeong, I'll freeze the lower half of the Nightmare Curse. The rest is up to you. Okay, leave it to me, Yeop Gyeong replied calmly while observing the Nightmare Curse Sovereign struggling with the falling debris from above. And right after the brief conversation, both of them started to attack at the same time. Nightmare Curse Emperor rushed forward after dealing with the rocks and began controlling his tendrils to lunge towards them. Luckily, Yeop Gyeong was very agile, allowing him to dodge between the attacks, although he still got a minor injury. However, Yeop Gyeong didn't pay much attention to it, as he had the ability to regenerate from Tree Hell, healing minor wounds quickly. So the monster's small attacks didn't affect him at all, as his superficial wounds healed at a visible speed. As for Ryu Seong-yeom, she had planted a flag on the ground and froze the legs of the Nightmare Curse Emperor to create an opening for Yeop Gyeong to attack. At that moment, Yeop Gyeong leaped into the air and dived straight towards Nightmare Curse, aiming for its head, the most vulnerable spot. Feeling he was not fast enough, he immediately went berserk, increasing his speed by 20%. Still not satisfied, he drank a vial of poison and, thanks to its transmutation effect, gained an additional 15% boost in speed. Finally, Yeop Gyeong pulled out a slow card, a trash item card of medicine test picked up at the entrance to the abyss. It was finally time to use it. The effective reward turned out to be a 15% increase in defense power, and after using up everything that could be enhanced, Yeop Gyeong also shouted, "This is my attack plan." After saying that, he rushed like a rocket towards the huge monster, but unfortunately things didn't go as he thought, because even though it couldn't move temporarily, this monster also had countless tentacles and arms. As soon as Yeop Gyeong flew into its range, Nightmare Curse immediately swung one of its tentacles to hit Yeop Gyeong, causing him to be thrown out, pretending to be defeated indeed, so he should know his place a bit more, initiating the recovery of energy. Target, retrieve myself. Yeop Gyeong muttered, and then immediately countless arms behind Yeop Gyeong rose to catch him, and this terrifying scene began to make everyone, including the Nightmare Curse Emperor, sweat profusely. What is this? Where did it come from? Reeve Seong-yeon shouted in horror. Turning to Yeop Gyeong after safely landing, he said to his subordinate's hands, "It can't be retrieved, so throw me out with all your strength. Use everything you've got." Following Yeop Gyeong's request, the hand used all its might to fling him forward like a projectile. Before the Nightmare Curse Sovereign could react, Yeop Gyeong pierced through its chest. At the same time, he managed to grab the stone tablet in his hand. Got it. Yeop Gyeong thought with delight. After landing, he quickly examined the stone tablet and muttered some incomprehensible words. Once Yeop Gyeong finished reading the text, the collapsing Nightmare Curse Sovereign began to disintegrate. At this moment, the system issued a notification. Curse to Blood has been completed. The people behind cheered with joy. We've won. Next, as a reward for everyone's efforts, they have all been promoted. Even Ryu Seong-yeon is no exception. Because she is a person with magical powers chosen by the gods, she received a bunch of stats far exceeding those of ordinary people when leveling up, with strength plus 33, agility plus 28, intelligence plus 38, willpower plus 26, physical plus 21, luck plus 34. While everyone was celebrating their level up, only Yeop Gyeong did not gain anything as his profession was limited to level 1, so the system displayed a message. Level up failed, you have reached the max level. Yeop Gyeong scratched his head awkwardly and said, as expected. Soon after, the real reward of the abyss appeared. A dazzling treasure chest suddenly appeared in the middle of the room. The archer was delighted and exclaimed, "Oh my god, the real treasure chest is here." Without making everyone wait too long, the chest automatically opened and emitted numerous cards with different colors. One of the cards flew into Yeop Gyeong's hand, a purple quality short sword with an attack plus 88, requiring a level of 10. After reading the description of this sword, Yeop Gyeong no longer had any joy left. His maximum level was only 1. Yeop Gyeong awkwardly said and then cried, only to helplessly throw the card aside. So all the amazing equipment in front of me right now is useless. I want to cry so badly. Yeop Gyeong thought to himself. At this moment, Ryu Seong-yeon also brought some item cards and approached Yeop Gyeong, saying, "You have made the biggest contribution to completing the Curse of Blood. You should distribute these items." Yeop Gyeong shyly said, "Ha ha, it's nothing." He then whispered to Ryu Seong-yeon, "Actually, can I ask you for a favor?" Shortly after, outside the gate, a team of Ryu family guards stood ready and prepared for any situation. They seemed anxious as they had been waiting for Ryu Seong-yeon to come out for a while. The bald leader pulled out a walkie-talkie and said to someone, "Contact headquarters and tell them to send a rescue team." But as soon as he finished speaking, Ryu Seong-yeon's voice echoed in front, "No need." After speaking, she and the others started to walk out of the gate, and the bald man saw this and cried tears of joy, saying, "Boss lady, thank the heavens you have returned safely." He hurriedly ran towards Ryu Seong-yeon. While behind them, the reporters saw them emerge safely and immediately reported, as expected from Ryu Seong-yeon, she has successfully cleaned up this abyss. Ryu Seong-yeon heard this and confidently said, "That's right. What can I do on my own? After all, I am also an S-class individual." She smiled and remembered her conversation with Yeop Gyeong while still inside. "Do you need my help? What is it?" Yeop Gyeong immediately replied, "The Ryu family is not short of money, right? So can I sell all these items to you? I will give you a discount, let's say around 500 magic crystals." Yeop Gyeong raised his 5 fingers as he spoke, and this offer also surprised Ryu Seong-yeon a bit, but then she said, "No problem." Turning back to Yeop Gyeong, he also stated his main purpose. "There's one more thing. When you leave this place, consider me not present here. This entire abyss is now under your control," he said seriously, leaving Ryu Seong-yeon even more surprised. "Ah, okay," she replied. Yeop Gyeong bid her farewell. "You and everyone else should leave first. I will follow afterwards." It seems our main character wants to take this opportunity to recycle a waste and return to reality. Ryu Seong-yeon thought to herself, "Yeop Gyeong, he's made me oven once." Turning back to Yeop Gyeong after everyone had left, he was alone and began to study the stone tablet. He discovered a small dark shadow appearing on its surface. After seeing the shadow, he smiled menacingly and said, "Even if you have become weak like this, you do not want to be like trash and be stepped on by everyone, right? Then become my strength." When it comes to this, Yeop Gyeong don't bother paying attention to whether the shadow agrees or not. He immediately uses his skills to recycle this item, and then the system announces, "Successful recycling, Curse of Blood, skill obtained, Curse of Blood. consumes life to summon a nightmare clone. Clone can mimic the subject to cause or receive damage once. Clone will disappear. After the effect is activated, this skill can be upgraded. Cooldown 30 seconds. Over here, Yeop Gyeong, after reading the skill description, couldn't help but exclaim, "Great! From now on in battles, I really look forward to your performance." Cut to a certain drink shop. At this moment, he also looks at the stack of items in front of him and thinks, "I have given Ryu Seong-yeom all the high-level required items because if not, I will be in trouble right away. Anyway, if someone picks up trash and has too many great items in hand, they will surely be invited by the disciplinary committee for tea. Otherwise, for these junk items, the disciplinary committee won't care whether I sell or not, but I must be thinking too much. Who would want to buy these junk items anyway?" Yeop Gyeong was talking and accidentally leaned back, and his finger inadvertently touched the recycle button on the system screen. Then immediately a notification appeared. "Device recycling, you have received 1 basic point." Yeop Gyeong over here also looked puzzled and said, "Wait, did I just recycle it?" And as if to answer his question, the system now displayed 2 more specific notifications. Recycling instructions are handling sorted waste after preliminary sorting, then crushing, melting and separating into recyclable materials. DP instructions are common substances extracted after decomposition. Useless devices can be used to upgrade, repair, and create new items. Mission instructions: please complete the repair tasks. The normal dagger turned towards Yeop Gyeong. At this point, he also felt surprise. These items of waste can also be recycled. Taking out a dagger as required by the task, he said, "I have to complete the mission based on this hint." The current durability of the dagger is 0.33. Before after defeating the tree hell, I also threw it away, but now the system also provided the necessary points to repair the dagger. Normal dagger repair instructions cost 5 DP. I have earned a DP from breaking down that useless hammer, so I just need to break down 4 more junk weapons to get it. Yeop Gyeong kept tapping on the screen, and the system immediately gave a series of notifications. He successfully dismantled several junk weapons, and as soon as he earned enough points, Yeop Gyeong proceeded with repairs immediately. The results surprised him. A regular dagger with durability 34/34, grade 1 requirement, attack 22, repair reward, maximum weapon durability +1, attack +1. Yeop Gyeong turned his attention back to the screen. After reading the description of the dagger again, he was amazed and said, "Weapons not only get repaired, but their durability and attack are also slightly increased. In other words, as long as they continue to wear and tear and get repaired, even junk weapons can continuously increase their stats, right? It seems like these junk weapons also need to be enhanced." Yeop Gyeong smiled and said it seems like he had some plan in mind. But at that moment, the system gave him another notification. "Congratulations on completing the tutorial. Please choose your reward, a Novas Blue-Green, a convenient magic potion that can immediately restore the user's energy and eliminate fatigue, plus 2 random attribute points." Turning back towards Yeop Gyeong, after seeing the reward, he also began to ponder. "Now in terms of attributes, I'm not lacking. The concern when venturing into the deep abyss is the unpredictability of its depth. There are many risks if not prepared properly. And without finding the boss room, my magic power points have been depleted. I must return to the old path to replenish supplies, so the magic power flasks found in the abyss are always key tools for the team to maintain the continuous value of the magic power flasks. No need to say more, it's understood." Just as Yeop Gyeong was thinking about this, the system also gave him a notification. "Congratulations, you have learned how to regenerate items, light magic power potion. Requirements for regeneration, 6 defense points with any container." Upon seeing this notification, Yeop Gyeong also began to stroke his chin and thought, "Regenerating an item requires a method, of course. I'm not surprised, but the requirement for any container." Thinking about this, he raised his hand and said to the shop owner, "Excuse me, but can I have a few containers?" The shop owner on the other side listened with some confusion, but then quickly brought him 3 cups, and the process of potion making officially began. The trash had been gathered. Next was regeneration. Oh, and there's even a minigame. Yeop Gyeong was surprised when he looked at the game interface in front of him. It seems like he has to be precise when the slider runs on this curved path. And after a while of hard work and straining his eyes to look, it seems like Yeop Gyeong has finally succeeded in creating 5 vials of medicine with perfect quality. Haha, it's true that recycled items, strange appearance, a bit okay, not unusable. Yeop Gyeong was talking while casually picking up a cup and taking a sip to see how effective his light magic power pills were. And just as he took a sip, he almost spit it out because its taste was truly awful, but at least it was effective. The system confirmed with a notification that magic power value increased, fatigue value decreased. After feeling the effect, Yeop Gyeong also happily said, "Good, It feels like my magic power has been fully recharged, and the fatigue in my body has disappeared. Today, I can probably clear another deep pit. Yeop Gyeong thought to himself and left the water shop, but as soon as he stepped outside, trouble found him as two people in black clothes stared straight at him and asked, "Hey, Yeop Gyeong, are you Yeop Gyeong?" These words came from a big bald man with a scar above his eye. When Yeop Gyeong heard him say that, he just remained silent, observing and not saying anything. Beside them, the bald man continued to speak. "Ha, it's only been a few days and your aura has already changed. Must have found more than just trash, maybe even a treasure. I used to have to search for you for a long time. A few days ago, I almost had to report you missing." He spoke while patting Yeop Gyeong's shoulder as if they were very close. In response to this action, he gently moved aside and coldly said, "I have paid off all my debts and interest. Please do not bother me anymore." Despite his words, the bald man seemed unwilling to let go and continued to provoke. "Don't want to work anymore, even though you've paid off your debts. Your contract hasn't expired yet. Don't forget you are a garbage collector. Just live like trash. Your dirty face looks pretty cool now. Are you trying to show off to someone?" After speaking, he casually knocked over Yeop Gyeong's large cup of water and laughed crazily. "Ha ha, can't you see? You drop my big cup of water. What will happen if someone with latent abilities B level gets in a clash with you? Do you know?" It seems like this bald man intentionally caused trouble. The people next to him understood his intentions and immediately clapped their hands in a threatening manner. "Hee hee, we've seen you itching for a fight for a long time now." Turning back to Yeop Gyeong after hearing these words from them, he quietly thought to himself, according to the management regulations, outside the deep pool of awakened latent abilities, any awakened latent ability is absolutely not allowed to be used. Only those who can unleash the awakened latent abilities outside the deep pool are law enforcement officials and licensed armed personnel. So in order to use the abilities to recover and regenerate, one must find a blind spot of the camera. And just as he thought about this, a bald young man next to him made a humiliating suggestion. "How about this? I'll let you pick up each tapioca pearl from the ground to eat that lick clean the bubble tea. This is the job of a trash picker that I'll let you do after all. Ultimately, it's a hard-to-come-by job opportunity, right? Ha ha." And this remark truly angered Yeop Gyeong, and in a moment of irritation, his hands clenched tightly as he replied firmly, "I refuse." The bald young man on this side, upon hearing his response, also angrily retorted, "I gave you a little face and you still don't want it." He spoke as he threw a fist towards Yeop Gyeong. But at this moment, suddenly a few footsteps ahead caught the attention of the bald young man, and as soon as he saw the owner of these footsteps, his face turned pale and fearful, saying, "Seiya." In his eyes, at that moment, a man with a very handsome face appeared in front of the crowd. He was Roligo Seiya from the S-Class Guild, seeking the Blood Oath Blackwood. On the opposite side, after Seiya saw this bald guy, he grabbed his collar tightly and said, "Have you gathered all?" The bald young man hesitated and said, "Almost gathered. Just one person missing." Seiya raised his eyebrows and said, "One last person. Where is that person?" After saying this, Seiya noticed Yeop Gyeong behind and said, "Hey, kid, you're in the team now." The bald young man replied cluelessly, "He's just a garbage person. You probably want someone who can handle everything. I can go find that person for Seiya." Roligo Seiya paid no attention to the young man's words and continued, "During the time of the blood moon, we need to enter the deep abyss where all evil creatures lurk. We need someone as a shield. Strength doesn't matter." On the opposite side of Yeop Gyeong, after hearing his words, Yeop Gyeong pondered, "When the blood moon appears, the beasts of the abyss will enter a frenzied state. Rare monsters will emerge in the abyss. A quantity of loot from killing monsters will increase exponentially, and the quality of magical crystals will become purer. To be honest, this is an extremely rare opportunity." Of course, Yeop Gyeong had no reason to decline. "All right, I'll join," he said with a smile, and the young man Seiya, satisfied with his response, said, "Very good, you really know how to seize the moment. You all, come here." The term "you all" surprised Yeop Gyeong a bit. He turned around to see if there was anyone else and was unexpectedly greeted by a familiar face, none other than Old Jin. Old Jin, upon seeing Yeop Gyeong's face, stammered, You are." But before he could finish, Yeop Gyeong quickly rushed over, covered his mouth, and dragged him to the side. By now, after calming down a bit, Old Jin also looked at Yeop Gyeong and said, "It's not a hallucination, it's you." Yeop Gyeong on this side heard that and coldly said, "At that time, if we didn't borrow the strength of everyone, we'd all have to die inside there. You can survive and come out also thanks to my contributions." Right after he finished saying this, Seiya appeared next to them, surprising them, saying, "Oh, so you know each other." Yeop Gyeong hurriedly said, "Of course not." Seiya turned away and said, "It's difficult. After all, if someone kills a teammate, how can they have real friends?" This made Yeop Gyeong breathe a sigh of relief. After seeing Seiya leave, Yeop Gyeong looked at old Jin and asked, "Why are you here?" Old Jin heard this and threatened the guild was going to sentence me to 15 years, but I went bankrupt and couldn't pay the 1.5 million fine, so I only regained my freedom thanks to you. Now I have nothing left, lost all my levels. If you don't return my level, I will report you to the World Guild. Before he spoke, Yeop Gyeong started to aim at a dangerous aura. Then he coldly said, "Do you dare to say that? Do you want me to turn you into kitchen waste and take you back?" Switching to the subway train in City C. At this time, Yeop Gyeong and old Jin followed Seiya to a red gate, where a group of people were already waiting. When they saw them arrive, a guy in a purple shirt greeted them. "Hey brothers, welcome to the Powwow group. Tell us about your awakened latent abilities." The owner of this voice was Jutong, a level 3 poet. Yeop Gyeong and old Jin introduced themselves. Level 1 body possessor, Yeop Gyeong, Jin Soundjan, level 1 magician spell. After hearing this, Jutong patted Yeop Gyeong on the back and said, "Haha, pro. Nothing special. We are all standard trash here. No need to mock each other. We are all here to risk our lives for money. No need to compare who is more noble. Right, brother?" Yeop Gyeong, standing beside him, didn't know what to say. "It seems like I have to follow this trash group." Back to Jutong, he continued. "Let's get acquainted. These two are teammates of our Powwow team. Our Powwow squad needs to select a team leader. I consider myself a 3rd level poet, so I am suitable for this position. If your level is the highest, then we will follow your orders." The owner of this voice is Lao Ju. He is a level 2 healer, and beside him is Lao Jang, a level 3 soldier. After hearing Jutong say that, he also said, "I have no opinion." After everyone got acquainted with each other, Seiya spoke up. "I want to announce some news. This time, following the expedition, besides our 6 main squads of Blood Oath, there will be 5 temporary members." But as soon as he finished speaking, some of the main squad members began to mock. "Holy shit, don't make those Powwow guys sound so great. Powwow is Powwow. Compared to us regular awakened latent abilities, Powwow is not meant to reduce casualties." Ignoring these words, Seiya took out a red key and continued to explain. "In the labyrinthine deep valley, each room will have many task traps set up. The Powwow team's task is to quickly find the way to the boss room. While reporting intelligence to the main squad, I will rely on your strategy. If you encounter monsters, just run. Ha ha ha," he said as he turned around and inserted the key into the gate. Immediately after, something miraculous happened. As the key touched the gate, the black veil covering it slowly dissipated. Before officially stepping through, Seiya made a pointed remark. "Just remember, if you want to split the rewards, at least one person needs to come back alive. If only one person survives, they could claim all the rewards for themselves." Hearing this, old Ju coughed violently, and it was unclear what he was thinking after these words. Seeing this, old Jang, worried, asked old Ju, "Are you all right?" "No, we can't back out now. We have 4 daughters at home, and they haven't eaten anything yet." Old Ju said urgently. In response to his words, old Jang could only sigh in sympathy. "My wife is seriously ill and needs money. Otherwise, why would we be risking ourselves here?" After they finished speaking, Seiya declared, "Let's go." For some reason, as they were about to step through the gate, old Jang stared at Yeop Gyeong and remarked, "Hey, is this kid new? Aren't all the Powwow always newcomers?" The owner asked with curiosity. No. What I mean is, he's a newcomer, but seems very relaxed. This is the first time I've seen someone like this," he said while observing Yeop Gyeong's confident expression. The group quickly moved through the gate and disappeared immediately. When they appeared on the other side, they found themselves inside a vast architectural area. After a period of silent movement, perhaps feeling bored, Jutong spoke up. "Hey, doesn't anyone find it strange? We've walked a long way, but there are no monsters in sight." Old Jin, hearing this, shouted back, "Stop talking nonsense." At this moment, old Ju, who was walking behind, felt a noticeable drop in the air temperature and said, "Why is it suddenly colder than when we entered?" Old Jang, hearing this, agreed. "Yes, the temperature has dropped. Humph, should have worn an extra coat. Let's keep going." Jutong, shivering, seemed to be cursed with bad luck. Soon after, he stepped on a trap on the ground, triggering a sharp blade to swing down from above. Fortunately, Yeop Gyeong noticed in time and flicked a stone at Jutong's head, causing him to stumble forward a few steps and narrowly escape the blade. Jutong just turned his head back while saying, "It hurts too much." Then he saw the hammer falling right in front of him, and foolish Jutong could only scratch his head awkwardly and laugh. "Ha, what's going on?" Old Jin shouted, "Stepped into the trap, you fool." And Yeop Gyeong had come to deal with him. How can this idiot survive until now? After saying that, he used his eyes to assess and found that his luck was only right in one point. No wonder he's so unlucky. But this clueless guy didn't know that he had been saved by Yeop Gyeong, so he continued to speak carelessly. Lucky me, almost met my ancestors in a moment. Okay, let's go. Jutong smiled and stepped mistakenly into the trap again, making old Jin behind him startled. And when the mechanism was activated, several large cages immediately fell from above his head. These seemingly unsafe things made old Ju behind worryingly stay. Are these things still alive? But right at this moment, sharp spikes emerged from inside the cages. While everyone was still in shock, spiders suddenly crawled out from inside the jars. These were ghost spiders, level 5, agile creatures, with venomous attacks. As soon as they were released from the jars, they all targeted Jutong, perhaps due to his incredibly low luck factor, which seemed to be working against him. The swarm of monsters charging towards him made the young man cry out in fear. Ah, I hate insects the most. But once again, he was saved when Jin immediately used his fiery domain to control the fire attack. Burn them all? Jin shouted and began shooting fire forward, but due to his reduced level, the attack seemed almost ineffective and failed to push the spiders back. Jang then yelled out loudly, "They're agile creatures, damn it, let me handle this." He then rushed forward to fight the spiders, but alone he couldn't stop the entire swarm. Therefore, a spider rushed straight towards Yeop Gyeong and immediately latched onto his leg without any hesitation, only regretting that it had chosen the wrong opponent. As soon as it bit his leg, a line of text appeared, "No damage done." Yeop Gyeong then conveniently kicked it, causing it to fly away immediately, saying, "Gross." He was horrified to see the spider's guts splatter after his kick, while Jinna had sneered, "What's with this guy? Isn't he the power thief?" Returning to Yeop Gyeong after kicking the spider to death, the system asked him, "Detected ghost spider can retrieve. Yeop Gyeong immediately replied, "Retrieve." This spider had also contributed quite a bit to Yeop Gyeong when it dropped some pretty decent items. Reminder, receive a skill point, receive a poison-infused tactic. When the weapon hits an enemy, it will have a poison effect for 6 seconds, causing a total of 60% damage from the weapon. If this attack triggers a critical hit, the damage will be increased to a total of 120% damage from the weapon, requiring a speed greater than or equal to 25. Items of the knife type will be incompatible with each other with the blood-sucking tactic. The tactic is an additional power that can be used on items and equipment. After using the tactic will disappear and the target items or equipment will be enhanced until the weapon is destroyed. The same type of tactic cannot stack, but multiple types of tactics have compatible properties. After receiving this new thing, Yeop Gyeong also understood a few more things. It seems that the revival of the corpse can not only be done with skill cards, awaken latent abilities cards, but also with such tactic cards. Moreover, this type of card seems to be able to enhance equipment. Turning back to old Jang, while he was struggling to fight in the front, Yeop Gyeong was sitting around doing nothing in the back, making him unable to resist yelling, "New recruit, hey, why are you still standing there? If you don't want to hold everyone back, quickly move to the back." Yeop Gyeong hurriedly said, come here, using poison with a normal dagger is nothing special." At the same time, in front of him, Jutong was being chased by a spider and his pants were falling down. As he dodged the spider's attack, he thought to himself, "Although I am the highest ranked poet in the team, what I dare not tell them is that my latent abilities are not able to fight, only to buff." Then he somehow pulled out a microphone and thought to himself, "The situation is too dangerous now, so first I can only give myself a life-saving buff. I am a graceful and elegant poet, always reminding myself to maintain composure in battle, even though everyone is the same today. All the monsters in our territory must obediently surrender." Jutong began to buff himself by rapping like a machine gun, while Yeop Gyeong, who didn't understand what was happening, could only think, "What is this guy doing talking nonsense? He's gone crazy." As for Jutong, after rapping for a while, instead of enhancing his own strength, he actually increased the strength of the monster in front of him, reminding monster successfully enhanced. Seeing this, Jutong fell silent, realizing his oversight. How could I have been so careless? Why are the monsters so enhanced? In gratitude for the boost in power, the spider decided to kill Jutong as quickly as possible. Just as its sharp legs were about to reach him, Yeop Gyeong rushed in and stabbed it with a sword, saving Jutong's life. At this moment, Jutong, shocked by the enhanced spiders due to his own ignorance, exclaimed, "The monsters are enhanced." Old Ju looked at the scene, pondering, "What should we do now?" Old Jang yelled, "Retreat." One of the spiders immediately charged at Jin Seonjun. Seeing this, he threw fireballs at the spider, but they caused no damage. He was helpless. Holy shit, damn it. At this moment, Yeop Gyeong, armed with a dagger, dashed forward. His swift slashes cut through the surrounding monsters, and the spider was quickly killed in front of Jin Seonjun. He watched confused as Yeop Gyeong sliced through the other spiders with ease. The spiders were cut into large pieces by Yeop Gyeong. He landed lightly behind them without making a sound. Yeop Gyeong steps forward ahead of them and thinks to himself, spider demons possess venomous resistance, so it's easy to understand why the toxic effect is reduced. The poison infection is the secret extracted from the spider demon. Using it on oneself would definitely have unclear effectiveness. Only the physical damage part is completely superior. Old Jae and Old Ju both look at Jutong and both exclaim, that poet is really strong, truly a leader. Upon hearing these praises, he laughs brightly. Just now because I killed. Ha 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 ha. Dan. Clearly, I was still planning to set a buff to escape. Turning to Yeop Gyeong, he stands watching the spider demons in front of him. Beasts in the deep pit also have a certain intelligence. If they cannot detect victory over the target, they will not actively attack, but instead prioritize running away. The spider demons look at Yeop Gyeong in fear. They begin to slowly retreat. Jin Seongjun looks at the creatures withdrawing and says the monsters seem to be retreating. Old Ju stands behind Jin Seongjun and mutters, this is only the first room that is already so terrifying, truly can't imagine what will appear next. At this moment, Yeop Gyeong strokes his chin and thought, I have already obtained quite a few poison infection secrets. Keep one for precaution. Convert the remaining 27 pieces into skill points. After thinking, Yeop Gyeong immediately converts and announces loudly as a reminder, receive 54 skill points. Back to Jutong, he said, if the monster has retreated, let's move forward. Then he turned to Jin Seongjun and asked, can you give me some fire? Jin Seongjun agreed, okay. After getting the fire, he raised the torch high and urged everyone forward. Our mission is to be careful in exploring the path, to not touch any traps. Yeop Gyeong, tired of Jutong's instructions, muttered, it's not like we can't think for ourselves. Suddenly, he noticed a distant chest and a sudden announcement rang out, exploring the chaotic hidden area. Upon receiving the announcement, Yeop Gyeong wondered, because of the influence of the blood moon, a new branch of the scenario has appeared. Should I try to go deeper inside? Thinking about it, he used his newly acquired summoning skill, Summon Ghost. He created a clone of himself and instructed the clone. You go with them for a while, I will follow. The clone nodded in agreement, and at that moment, Jutong turned around to see the clone of Yeop Gyeong following behind. He asked, where are you running off to? Don't mess up the formation, otherwise we'll all end up dead. Meanwhile, Yeop Gyeong had entered the hidden area and was led into a cave. As he stepped out of the cave and looked around, a giant spider appeared above him. Yeop Gyeong immediately sensed danger and turned back. A spider rushed down towards Yeop Gyeong. He immediately jumped to avoid the attack. The giant spider attacked Yeop Gyeong with its massive body. It looked down at him, with its small body on the ground making a strike at Yeop Gyeong. He dodged and countered with 3 slashes but caused no damage. Yeop Gyeong was surprised. Holy shit, what the hell, physical defense almost immune. At the moment he lost his vigilance, the spider swung another attack. Yeop Gyeong in an instant caught the blow with his hands but was still thrown by its force into the wall, making a dent. In the moment of impact, he immediately grabbed a knife and activated his observation eye. Yeop Gyeong received feedback. Looking at a level 20 boss spider, a rare elite, he wiped his mouth in astonishment. I didn't expect to encounter a rare level 20 elite. If I can kill it, I might even get rare elite gear for recycling. The spider then shot a web towards Yeop Gyeong, but he had disappeared from there. Yeop Gyeong is now on top of the monster's head. He gathered flames in his right hand and swung it down towards the spider's head and yelled, Great Blaze Flame. The fireball collided with him. After being hit, the spider seemed itchy. It continued to shoot silk to attack Yeop Gyeong. He kept moving to avoid the spider's attacks and silently thought, being immune to fire, attribute advantages have no effect on it, if that's the case. Yeop Gyeong approached with a knife. He looked into its 3 pairs of eyes. He sliced a few lines on the spider's head. Yeop Gyeong fell to the ground. The spider screamed in pain from the cuts. He noticed the spider's continuous pain and realized, level 5 demon spiders have venomous abilities, but level 20 mother spiders lose their immunity to poison and toxins. Even more surprising is that the toxin has become a deadly weakness. Due to their unique defense and reproduction abilities, they don't need to actively hunt themselves. Just send out their demon spider offspring to care for. However, ironically, the venomous spiders they give birth to become their weakness, capable of causing lethal damage. The spider was now constantly under attack from the toxins. Suddenly, it released silk from its abdomen. Yeop Gyeong watched in astonishment at what the spider was doing. Didn't expect this move. The spider shot long, thick silk threads straight towards Yeop Gyeong. He was bound by the threads, causing a slow effect. The spider slowly advanced towards Yeop Gyeong. He smirked, activate the Berserk skill. The thread was easily cut by him as he clenched his fist and punched the spider straight on. A punch so powerful like Saitama. A punch that freed the spider. Reminder, Berserk State can be upgraded. Upgraded Berserk State. Choose one of the two. 1. Blood splattered everywhere, where you become stronger when a state of physical attack. The attack can even penetrate the immune system of some enemies, but at a cost, you will continue to lose health points visible to the naked eye until the moment of death. And the end of the rage, endless rage, your anger time doubles and recovery time is halved. Yeop Gyeong looked at the two options and speculated. Normal people would choose the endless rage as this upgrade path is very stable, but if facing a spider, the physical immunity of the monster will have no effect if choosing blood splattered everywhere, upgrading the berserk combat power, becoming even stronger, but the most worrying is the side effects visible to the naked eye. Of course, I choose blood splattered everywhere, because I still have a super A-grade regeneration technique in my hands, which can eliminate the blood splattered everywhere, the downside being effective. You confirm promotion. Yeop Gyeong stands inventory of items dropped from the Spider Queen. After looking through the cards, he immediately retrieves 3 cards. Yeop Gyeong calculates these items. If officially take the nominal team member, may be able to take them to the deep abyss. Then looking at the card in hand, it seems a bit few. Can be sold for over 15,000 crystals. After calculating, he launches the recovery power. The spider's corpse begins to be recovered, gaining 20 attribute points. Yeop Gyeong looks forward to. What skill will be this time? Harvest rare cards. Instinctual attacking skills of the spider species for the owner fighting, they choose different evolutionary directions in combat. Looking at the new skill, Yeop Gyeong wonders. Can choose to evolve summoning creatures. Cut to another scene, the Palvo team advances into the cave from the outside. Jutong looks at the crystal blocks and exclaims, "This, unexpectedly, there are crystal mines in the deep abyss." Old Ju holds up a small crystal piece in amazement and wonders. Pure greatest magic crystal. Is this created in the deep abyss by the blood red moon? Each particle is valuable connected. He took out a staff shaped like an eye. Jin Seongjun looked at the staff in surprise. A gold Saojian with a radius of 60 meters, it makes the staff visible to anyone exploring the abyss on their map. Jin Seongjun immediately grabbed Old Ju by the collar and scolded him. "Are you stupid? If we had brought all the magic stones with us, we could have lived comfortably for the rest of our lives. Why should we share with those people?" Seeing his reckless attitude, Old Ju pointed out the dangers. "If they discover we are hiding the magic stones, not only will we not be prosperous and wealthy, but we might not even survive to leave." Seeing the unnecessary conflict, Old Jang stepped in to mediate. The job of the Palvo team is to open the map for those big guides. If we die in the abyss, it will be easily dismissed as an accident and no one will genuinely care about our fate. Jin Seongjun, considering Old Jang's words, fell silent and reflected on the past. Trash, just roll away, don't block the way. Even if I die, no one will care. Trash will die and still not be noticed. At that moment, a black fog began to envelop him. He remembered the terrifying scene of being grabbed by the hands and dragged inside. Jin Seongjun gritted his teeth, solidly blaming Yeop Gyeong. It's all that Yeop guy's fault. He glanced at the pile of crystals and thought to himself, at the moment, as long as there is a little money, it can be considered successful. Otherwise, increasing the speed is not a problem. He held up a crystal. I can still use high-quality equipment. When the main battle occurs, there will be no problem, even if it's a little secret. Just as this thought came to his mind, a red light beam suddenly shot down from above, reminding him, "Trap activated." The beam streaked past Jin Seongjun and Lao Ju, piercing through the head of Lao Jang behind them, causing him to fall down dead instantly. The three of them looked horrified at the scene. Old Ju, what the hell is going on, Dan? Back in the cursed area, a level 1 spider, Yeop Gyeong still did not know anything about the Pao team. He looked at the creature he just summoned, a tiny spider transformed from a normal one, probably without any fighting ability. The spider with its shiny eyes looked at Yeop Gyeong, investing points in a method that could upgrade it to a level 5 demon spider. In the next stage, 5 methods were required. If they wanted the spider to survive on the battlefield, it needed to be upgraded to at least level 5, feed it to evolve, and harvest the ability to shoot webs. Old Ju was shot through the head and died instantly. The 3 people watching this scene were stunned. Old Jang exclaimed, "Old Ju!" Jin Seongjun calmly said, "It was unintentional." Hearing this made Old Jang angry. He turned around, grabbed him by the collar and shouted, "You fool, you caused Old Ju's death out of greed. Do you know that Old Ju is the pillar of the family? He risks his life every day to support his family, all because of you." He retorted, "I just wanted to make some money. What's wrong with that? If it weren't for my status falling to a lower level, I would have been living comfortably and wouldn't have to hang out with trash like you." Hearing his offensive words, old Jang pointed a weapon at him and said, "You're a damn assassin." He also summoned flames. No one should claim superiority here. No matter how talented or rich they are, power is absolute. It's all just luck. Suddenly, a figure walked in. A voice along with applause said, "Well done. I like your perspective." The one applauding was none other than Seiya. He offered, "Kid, are you interested in joining the Blood Oath? There's a reserve spot available." At this moment, the two stood still upon seeing him. Suddenly, a red-haired person approached from behind. He looked at Master Ju's body and said, "He's no longer breathing." Listening to the red-haired youth, he scratched his head and said, "Dying in a deep pit is quite normal." As this little kid said, "The only way for the weak is to exchange their lives for money. There's no shame in death, haha." He approached Jin Seonjun and put his arm around him, saying, "Magical crystals like these are only created during the time of the red moon. Each one is priceless enough to bring glory and wealth to anyone for a lifetime. However, I forgot to mention one thing before. In order to take these magic crystals, I need you to make a humble offer, not a valuable life." As he finished his sentence, a person in full iron armor stepped forward with a sword, followed by others. The red-haired youth kicked a basket and said, "Boss's meaning is that you are responsible for extracting these crystals from the wall and throwing them into the basket in front of us, understand?" The old man Jang retorted, "Disgusting. Taking down every single magic stone may lead to being trapped and killed. Isn't this not for us to die?" Seeing him resist, he rubbed his chin and said, "I remember your wife is not seriously ill. She desperately needs money to save her life." He approached him and asked again, "What if, other than that condition, I dare to contribute enough money for her treatment?" This statement is a joke to me. Remember to use your life for money, not lose face. Hearing his sharp words, old man Jang shivered and sweated, glanced at the pile of magic stones with drooling mouth, approached with trembling arms. Just as he was about to touch it, he knelt down and gave up. "I'm really sorry, I can't do it." Tears and snot dripped down his face. "Honestly, I admit, I only gambled and lost too much money to pay off debts. I don't want to die either." Upon hearing the truth, he showed disdain. "Indeed, you are a useless person." Jin Seonjun stood behind Seiya, looking at him and thought, "This wretch's level and strength completely crush me. Someone like him is considered the most powerful era. I'm not even his match." After thinking, he spoke up, "Boss, you didn't just say you wanted to recruit new members, but also said I was interested in joining, right? I am a fire elemental wizard, and I really want to join." Suddenly, he turned to the person next to him, confused. "Ha! Did I just say that?" The young man next to him leaned in and confirmed, "Boss, you really said that." After asking his subordinates, he called Jin Seonjun over. Jin Seonjun knelt before him and said, "I am willing to do anything for you, boss." Before he could finish, he was kicked straight in the face, blood spewing out. He scornfully said, "Damn, you really think you can join the noble gang by offering yourself as a meal? You're a damn assassin, sentenced to death by the underworld. I just wanted to make your death a bit more meaningful. Your vitality doesn't matter. Anyway, you have no way to leave here alive. I will turn all of you into corpses and then let the magic necromancer control you to collect these magic crystals." At this moment, someone from the Pao squad approached from behind, and Yeop Gyeong's clone turned to look back. "Anyway, you have died once. Dying multiple times won't make a difference." Jutong silently cursed at the scene. "Damn bastards." At this moment, no one noticed that Yeop Gyeong had switched places with the clone. Jutong was about to speak when Yeop Gyeong's hand placed on his shoulder, advising, "Don't get emotional." He stepped forward and instructed, "Leave it to me. You ain't on the side." Yeop Gyeong calmly replied, "Just collecting the crystal. What could possibly go wrong?" Upon hearing Yeop Gyeong's calm words, the sorcerer cursed in anger. "What? Trash daring to show its face here." As soon as he finished speaking, he saw him reaching for the crystal, the sorcerer sweating profusely. He quickly took out the crystal and turned around to run. Everyone quickly ran to find a place to hide, cursing, "Damn it, this madman could have warned us a bit earlier, trying to kill us." Seeing nothing happen, they looked up. The sorcerer puzzled. Could the trap against him be useless? The red-haired youth continued, "As I said, setting traps will only be activated once, useless." Yeop Gyeong thought to himself, "All of the traps are set. If the conditions for the lucky attribute are met, it will be effective, turning into serious wounds, minor injuries, or even disabled. My luck value must have just satisfied disabling this low-level trap." He took another crystal. They saw this and reminded again, trap not activated. After a while, with nothing happening, Stea speculated, if the trap hasn't lost its effectiveness, could this kid be lucky, with a value exceeding 60? The mage next to him asked, but at level 1, the garbage collector, luckily possessing a single attribute exceeding 60, how is this possible? Anyway, The majority of people who awaken latent abilities in the world cannot do that. Upon hearing the mage's words, he also found it reasonable. It seems that the only possibility is to nullify the trap. The red-haired youth abruptly broke a piece and said, "Repeated twice, that's how it is, look. This is really nothing." As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately paid a high price. The red-haired youth fell dead before the eyes of the mage, with his followers dead in front of him. He confirmed the elimination of everything. The current ability called Lucky Kid is of absolute value. Compared to the normal person who seems to have the rare Awaken Late abilities attribute, it is rare, a deep abyss, only with relative combat power. The new attribute is the dominant one. The direction will not be for you. All your occupations are useless. Only Lucky is valuable to Jenny. Yeop Gyeong thought to himself, I only distribute the average score evenly. He smirked cunningly. A plan was to turn all of you into corpses, but I've changed the plan. I only need a valuable Lucky corpse. The rest are not needed. He immediately ordered his subordinates, don't let anyone escape. Old Jang looked at the scene with trembling fear. It's over, we're doomed. Standing in front of us were just ordinary members. We were only a small group of Pao. How could we beat opponents? Jutong continued, turn around and run while you still can. Jin Seongjun stood at the end, his face pale and teeth clenched in fear. He immediately turned and ran with a magic crystal around his neck. Yeop Gyeong, confused by his actions, asked, why are you running when we clearly have the numerical advantage? Old Jang then said, we only have 4 people. What can we do against them? Just run. Yeop Gyeong retorted, I said we can do it. Numbers definitely give us the advantage. Suddenly, a noise was heard. The wizard asked his armored companion, do you hear that noise? In response, the armored replied, what noise? The wizard looked up at the noise and saw many spider-like creatures descending, transforming into monsters. They exclaimed, there are demons inside this room. Jutong looked at the creatures and remarked, this time is even worse, not only humans but demons too. Yeop Gyeong explained that they accidentally picked up some spider creatures on the way, and when he mentioned they were from the same family, everyone was astonished and turned to him, asking, wait, you can control spiders? Yeop Gyeong ignored Jutong's words and focused his eyes on the Blood Oath group where the information began to appear. Magic Necromancer level 20, Warrior level 17, Hunter level 12, Archer level 18, Paladin level 19. He thought to himself, I wonder if the level of humans and monsters is the same. The power difference is not too much. It is not difficult to deal with them. When it was Seiya's turn, there was no way to assess his combat power. He looked at Yeop Gyeong and wondered. Controlling deep-sea creatures seemed to have a lot of potential for new things. He looked at him and evaluated. In other words, based on attributes alone, he doesn't seem much stronger than me. He may even be higher. Seiya disdainfully said, the spider minions you summon are just level 10 monsters, all trash. He then ordered, kill the monsters first and then deal with the others. Be careful not to damage the crystals. Yeop Gyeong also warned the 2 behind him. If the situation changes, if you don't want to die, follow Jin Seongjun's escape route. Upon hearing Yeop Gyeong's words, old Jang silently thought to himself, you are a fool, willingly stopping the enemy on your own, but in a way that allows him to go on alone. After thinking this, he immediately turned and ran ahead. Jutong, surprised by this, saw Jang still standing there and said, you must have a purpose for risking your life in such a dangerous pit, right? If you don't want to die, then run. Hearing this, Yeop Gyeong replied, I won't forget you. Jutong then followed Jang into the cave, but had to stop after a few steps because luck was not on his side. Large rocks blocked the path ahead. Seeing this, Jutong exclaimed, damn it. Jang, shocked by the blocked path, asked in a panic, what the hell are you doing? Jutong, flustered, apologized, I'm sorry. I've been very unlucky falling into the abyss. I don't know what's happened. Turning back to Yeop Gyeong, the official battle began. The Holy Knight charged straight at the spider she summoned, landing a direct hit. Pleased with his strike, the Holy Knight remarked, such a filthy creature is not even worth a single life. When he lost focus, the spider shot its web straight into his face. The Holy Knight quickly removed the web. Before he could react, he was surprised by the scene. Yeop Gyeong appeared swinging his sword, the knight blocked with his shield. Then he arrogantly said, I challenge level 19 to whoever challenges me. He pushed him away, leaving him upside down thinking, my spider is only level 10, unable to distract enemies, lacking in resistance power. Breaking from his thoughts, Yeop Gyeong swiftly slid behind the knight at an extreme speed. He took advantage and struck him from behind, cutting into the knight's leg, causing him pain. My leg. Yeop Gyeong seized the opportunity, preparing to finish him off. 2 arrows shot from afar. He dodged the arrows, surprising the archer. The young man with black hair asked the young man with white hair, did that kid just dodge correctly? White hair replied, certainly, your aim was off. The white hair quickly drew an arrow and shot it towards him. As the arrow flew towards him, Yeop Gyeong effortlessly split it in half with a swing of his sword. Seeing him dodge their attack, Yeop Gyeong wasted no time in igniting a fire on the ground, which quickly spread towards the two archers. A shocking explosion occurred where they stood, making them exclaim, "This kid is really strong." Meanwhile, the armor faced a giant spider and raised his sword, shouting, "Monster, Gokai!" With just one strike, the spider was defeated, and he turned his gaze towards the Jutong clan, advancing without hesitation. Seeing him approach, Jutong panicked, saying, "I didn't attack just now. Don't come looking for me." Just as the sword swung down, old Jang rushed forward with a shield to block the fatal blow, saying, "Step back." He turned to confront them, saying, "Is all because people can't run fast enough? We're really meeting demons." He continued, "If you don't want to die, stand up and fight." As he was talking to Jutong, the armor emitted a dazzling light and prepared to strike. He quickly turned back to block his second attack, which was much stronger than the first, knocking him back and crashing into a rock, shattering it. The collision made him bleed. His sword pierced straight in front of Jutong. The iron armor carrying his sword advanced closer. Suddenly, he stood up with a curved shield, laughing a few times. "Ha ha ha. I shouldn't have come to a deep abyss. Anyway, we are all going to die." Old Jang yelled loudly in the face of the young man in iron armor. "Those who die all owe me. This time, all are here to pay their debts." Hearing this, his eyes narrowed with excitement. He rushed towards old Jang. Just as he was about to strike, suddenly, a purple energy enveloped him, making him unable to move. He glanced back without moving. It's him! The one who unleashed the energy was Jutong, targeting accurately this time. He said to old Jang, "I have used my ultimate skill. Quickly make a move." Old Jang shouted, "I will also keep you here." Jutong didn't know what to say, just laughed a few times. "Ha ha ha." Yeop Gyeong turned to look at the two Palvo, wondering what they were doing. The mage in front of him emitted red energy and said, "Consider yourself lucky. Your hidden potential is strong, but your magic power is limited. You cannot sustain high in battle." Yeop Gyeong looked at him with unspoken energy, thinking, summoning magic is a type that continues to consume magic power. The energy previously summoned when waiting has already been consumed a lot. Summoning spiders also need to continue to consume magic power. Thinking of this, he opened a space containing the water he had prepared, which surprised him, and asked, "Ah, what is this, a drink? What do I need to manage what you drink, as there is no time to supplement magic power value now?" The wizard then turned several corpses into his puppets. Magic necromancer, but with extraordinary power, a professional standard, controlled by magic necromancer. The creatures will be completely separated from before. Yeop Gyeong absorbed the water, wondering, manipulating corpses. After drinking the water, his magic power was fully replenished. Yeop Gyeong summoned his arms, saying, "Those who died here, rest." The arms directly pulled the bodies down, making magic necromancer look surprised. "What kind of sorcery is this? Why are my bodies disappearing?" Yeop Gyeong paid no attention to his question, but instead approached directly, throwing a punch at the magic necromancer's face, causing him to fall flat on his face. Seiya, who was right next to them, witnessed this scene and crushed the spider head on his hand in surprise. Yeop Gyeong calmly said, "If everyone is just looking to make some money, we can all go our separate ways peacefully. But you, wanting to trade someone else's life for the crystal, have offended me. Do you understand?" Feeling belittled by Yeop Gyeong's words, the magic necromancer responded arrogantly, "How dare you think a little bit of power can make you superior enough to not be laughed at? Because of these few worthless minions, I was trying to be the bigger person to remind you. This is a dog-eat-dog world. Only the wicked can stand tall." Suddenly, a voice of pleading was heard. "Please don't kill me. I'm just a lowly worker." Turning to the voice, Jutong approached with his sword drawn. Seiya spoke up, "In the current situation, it is absolutely impossible for you and us to escape Abyss at the same time." Old man Jang shouted loudly, "Don't listen to his demon talk. Since we started resisting them, that's not possible anymore. Take this sword and kill him." Jutong, holding the sword, hesitantly replied, "I am just a helper. Don't talk about killing. Even small monsters, I can't kill one." Seiya continued, "Both sides must have a comprehensive plan." Yeop Gyeong laughed. "Ha ha, I don't understand your principles. I just know to advance into the deep abyss and survive." Upon hearing this, he mocked with authority, "Knave." A powerful blow struck him directly. Although Yeop Gyeong managed to defend, the force still pushed him back onto a boulder. Yeop Gyeong silently marveled. "So powerful. Just relying on intuition tells me this is the strongest creature I've ever encountered." Suddenly, his eyes widened to see a viciously rush forward. Yeop Gyeong dodged a dangerous punch, boasting, "Before my strength, you are just trash."